Chapter 211. Although there were still a few matches that weren't weak, compared to the match between Su Yi and Shangguan Mingho, it felt like something was missing. The gathering only ended late at night. This ancient paradise finally calmed down and returned to being shrouded by the moonlight, hazy and ethereal. When Su Yi completely refined the benefits of the 100-fruit wine in his body, it was already late in the morning of the second day. YQ new and fast. Up in the room, Su Yi, who was sitting cross-legged, withdrew his hand seal and spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. Opening his eyes, Su Yi's eyes were dazzling with a faint scarlet color, which immediately returned to being reserved and deep. Immediately feeling the changes in his body, Su Yi's eyes lit up with joy. Drinking the 100-fruit wine last night wasn't for nothing. Su Yi could clearly feel that his cultivation had improved tremendously in just one night. The yuan qi in his dantian's yuan qi si vortex had been compressed even more. Su Yi's aura was originally at the mid-second level of the yuan qi realm, but now it had reached the third level of the yuan qi realm. Even though he had yet to step into the third level of the yuan profound stage, Su Yi could feel that he had improved a lot, and it was not something that could be compared to before. In fact, Su Yi could feel that his soul power had changed quite a bit. The 100-fruit wine is a treasure. Su Yi was secretly shocked. The 100-fruit wine of the Spirit Ancient Village was really good. The corners of Su Yi's mouth curled up into a smile for no reason. His eyes darted around as he pondered in his heart. If there was a chance, it would be great to take some 100-fruit wine from Spirit Ancient Village so that Grandpa Fatty Wong and the others could have a taste. Thinking about Fatty Wong, Su Yi's heart was moved. Fatty Wong was his best partner in this world. With Fatty Wong's talent, it was unlikely that he would have great achievements on the path of cultivation. If there was a chance in the future, he would help Fatty Wong. With the various treasures and opportunities on him, Su Yi was somewhat confident that he would be able to help his best partner in this world. And that girl, Wanna, in Su Yi's mind, a figure appeared. He thought of that young girl who made his heart ache. He wondered if anyone in the Su family bullied her. Someone's here. Shangguan Shiwei. Suddenly, Su Yi came back to his senses. Using his soul power, Su Yi felt Shangguan Shiwei's aura. As a soul controller, and with the vigilance that Su Yi had honed in the barbarian demon forest, this wasn't difficult at all. After a few breaths, Shangguan Shiwei's voice. Shangguan Shiwei's SSTSSSSSSS Shangguan Shiwei was standing in the courtyard. When she heard the commotion, she looked over. Although the SSSSSSSSS made Shangguan Shiwei take a few more glances. How is it? Did you gain a lot? Shangguan Shiwei asked after sensing Su Yi's zzzzzzzzzzz. Su Yi smiled and nodded. How about I bring you around the village today? Shangguan Shiwei asked. Sure, Su Yi was curious about this mysterious village. He smiled and nodded. His gaze shifted to Shangguan Shiwei and said, There's still a few days before the competition. Don't you need to prepare? Shangguan Shiwei smiled faintly and said, The second and third rounds don't have much to do with me anymore. The last round will also be fought by Shangguan Chenfeng. These few days, he will be in seclusion to prepare. So that's how it is. Su Yi sized up Shangguan Chenfeng. He was indeed not ordinary. Brother Yi Su. A voice sounded and a figure approached. Hearing the voice, Su Yi knew who it was. Other than Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and Shangguan Yi, there was no one else. I told them to come with you. They'll accompany you to familiarize yourself with the environment. Shangguan Shiwei said. She felt that it wasn't appropriate to accompany a fat person. Although she didn't think so in her heart, this was the village after all. Su Yi nodded. Shangguan Rock and the other two were already excitedly in front of him. Their complexions were rosy and their complexions were very good. They must have obtained great benefits from the 100-fruit wine. Did you see Su Tianke? Su Yi asked. He didn't know where Su Tianke went. That guy went crazy from drinking last night. At the mention of Su Tianke, Shangguan Rock and the other two looked at each other, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. What happened? Su Yi was stunned. What else could have happened? That chicken was too good at eating. It drank the remaining 6 jars of 100-fruit wine in one go. All the 100-fruit wine in the square was swept clean by it. It drank so much that the elders' hearts ached. Shangguan Yu's voice paused for a moment. After taking a deep breath, he looked at Su Yi and continued. Afterwards, Su Tianke grabbed a spirit bird and wouldn't let it go. He said that he wanted to eat roasted meat. That poor spirit bird was an elder's favorite pet. It was usually incomparably precious, but Su Tianke plucked almost all of its feathers. Shangguan Yu was very helpless, especially when he recalled the gaze of that spirit bird's owner last night. He felt sorry for that elder. Such a beautiful spirit bird was plucked until it looked like a featherless chicken. It was simply a second Su Tianke. This. Su Yi was also dumbfounded. This was really something that Su Tianke would do. Where's Su Tianke now? Su Yi asked helplessly. That spirit bird has a lover. It's a demon spirit realm blazing demon falcon. It has been chasing Su Tianke for revenge. I don't know where Su Tianke ran off to. Shangguan Yi was very helpless. Last night, Su Tianke caused a mess. In the end, he only knew that Su Tianke ran away like a chicken. Su Yi was speechless. He was most worried that Su Tianke would cause trouble. He didn't expect that guy to still cause trouble. Don't worry, nothing will happen. No matter what, Su Tianke is still in the village. He can't leave the village. Looking at Su Yi's expression, Shangguan Shiwei smiled. Su Yi bitterly smiled. He wasn't worried about Su Tianke. He knew that guy was also very mysterious. A demon spirit realm blazing demon falcon wouldn't be able to do anything to Su Tianke. It was already late in the morning and the sun was shining brightly. The air in the spirit ancient village was fresh. There were towering trees and flowing streams everywhere. Su Yi, Shangguan Shiwei, and the others set off to walk around the village. This village was very big. Compared to the villages outside, it was much bigger. Sister Shiwei, where are you guys going? On the way, there were boys and girls who were curious and chased after them. They seemed to want to follow them to play. You little brats, go play obediently. Shangguan Rock's face was stern. He couldn't bring these little brats around. Shangguan Rock, what did you say? You dare to be rude to me? Chapter 212. Looking at this child, Shangguan Rock immediately became terrified. He immediately squeezed out a smile and said to the child, "Ninth uncle, how would I dare?" Hearing this, Su Yi was stunned. This child was actually Shangguan Rock's ninth uncle. Ha ha ha, Shangguan Yu couldn't help but laugh. Looking at the puzzled Su Yi, he said, "Brother Yi Su, Shangguan Rock has a close relative. His grandfather had a son at an old age, so this guy has an extra ninth uncle. Ha ha, you little guys, go and train your body." A group of middle-aged men walked over and scolded the little guys. They smiled at Su Yi. "Let's go and train our bodies." The little guys immediately left, not daring to be impudent. These little brats. Shangguan Rock curled his lips. Immediately, the group of people continued to move forward with smiles. This village was really big. There were mountains and steep ridges, and the energy of heaven and earth was abundant. There were strange birds and beasts everywhere. These strange birds and beasts were not afraid of people. They flew and wandered in the village. In short, it was a paradise. Su Yi sighed inwardly. No wonder the people here were not ordinary. This place could be called a treasure land. Along the way, Su Yi learned from Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Shiwei, and the others that there were dangers in this place. The village was still okay. It was a safe place. The dangerous places were Spirit Ancient Village, Wild Bear Tribe, and Tribe of Tiger Hunters. Many of those places were dangerous. Some places had extremely powerful savage beasts, but there were also many spirit herbs and spirit fruit. Therefore, the spirit ancient village, the hunting tiger tribe, and the barbarian bear tribe would often organize teams to go hunting. Firstly, it was to hunt to replenish the bodies of the young children and the old and the weak in the village. Secondly, it was to harvest spiritual herbs and spiritual fruit. However, it was also very dangerous. There were often people who were injured, bleeding, or even killed. Hiya! Suddenly, there was movement from afar. A man and a horse galloped over. It was a spirit horse with a vigorous body and a body as white as jade. Riding on it was a 15 or 16-year-old girl. She had a delicate and pretty face, big bright eyes, and her beautiful black hair was tied up high. It's Shangguan Xiu. Shangguan Shiwei and Shangguan Rock were astonished when they saw the man and the horse galloping towards them. Sister Shiwei, this is bad. When she saw Shangguan Shiwei and the others, Shangguan Xiu's eyes immediately lit up with joy. She hurriedly reined in her horse and stopped beside Shangguan Shiwei and the others. Her expression was anxious and her eyes were solemn. Xiu, what's going on? Shangguan Shiwei secretly raised her eyebrows. Looking at Shangguan Xiu's expression, she seemed to have encountered something. Shangguan Xiu's gaze swept over Su Yi and was a little surprised. She was also at the square last night and saw the shocking scene of Su Yi defeating Shangguan Mingho. Then Shangguan Xiu came back to her senses and remembered the important matter. Not good, she said. Brother Changhong and Hu Mo of the tribe of tiger hunters are fighting. Hu Mo. Hearing this, Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and the others' expressions changed greatly. We found a stalk of green frost grass in the Treasure Spirit Valley, but we didn't expect the tribe of tiger hunters to be there too. We found it first, but they said they saw it first. The leader of the tribe of tiger hunters is Hu Mo, and now he's fighting with Brother Changhong. I saw that they had a lot of people, so I wanted to go back to the village to report. Shangguan Xiu said. She was very clear that Brother Changhong was no match for Hu Mo, and the other side had a lot of people. Therefore, she took the opportunity to sneak back to the village to report and ask for help. Let's go. Shangguan Shiwei frowned. Before Shangguan Xiu could finish her sentence, the origin qi under her feet surged and her figure shot out. Sister Shiwei, wait for me. Shangguan Xiu also rode on her horse and chased after her. Not good. Shangguan Rock and the others' expressions turned serious. What's going on? Su Yi still had some doubts and asked the three of them. Brother Su, let's go and take a look. We can't let Brother Changhong suffer. I'll tell you on the way, Shangguan Yu said. Whoosh whoosh. The four of them circulated their origin qi and immediately rushed forward. On the way, Su Yi learned from Shangguan Yu and the others that the tribe of tiger hunters, the wild bear tribe, and the spirit ancient village were actually very close to each other. Although they usually maintained a trade, there were many disputes among the younger generation. For these disputes among the younger generation, as long as the matter wasn't serious, the respective elders wouldn't care if there were injuries or bleeding. Snatching of elixirs like this was common, and everything depended on strength. The problem was that this time, the spirit ancient village encountered Hu Mo. The leader of the spirit ancient village was Shangguan Zhanghong. Although Shangguan Zhanghong was considered an extraordinary existence among the younger generation of the spirit ancient village, his cultivation level was only in the top 10 of the spirit ancient village. Hu Mo, on the other hand, was ranked only below Hu Qi in the tribe of tiger hunters. He was considered to be in the top 2 among the younger generation of the tribe of tiger hunters. His strength was very strong. Su Yi now knew why Shangguan Shiwei was secretly frowning. It seemed that Hu Mo was also a powerful character. The Spirit Treasure Valley was not far away. Soon, Su Yi and Shangguan Rock arrived. The Spirit Treasure Valley was not far from the Spirit Ancient Village. It was a deep valley separated from the tribe of tiger hunters. There were many savage beasts inside, and of course, there were also many medicinal herbs. The level of the savage beasts in the Spirit Treasure Valley was not very high. The powerful savage beasts were all driven away or killed by the strong. Therefore, the Spirit Ancient Village, the tribe of tiger hunters, and even the wild bear tribe would often send youngsters to the Spirit Treasure Valley to search for medicinal herbs. It could be considered a form of training. Bang bang bang, even from far away, the sound of energy colliding could be heard from the front. Surrounded by a group of figures, 4 figures were fighting fiercely. When Sui arrived, he glanced around and recognized the people from the Spirit Ancient Village. Including Shangguan Xiu, whom he had met not long ago, there were 8 people in total. There were also several savage beasts as mounts. Of the 13 or 14 youths left in the field, the men were well-built and the women were wild. They should be the tribe of tiger hunters. Sui seemed to have some impression of a few of the young men from the tribe of tiger hunters when he came to this Xanadu yesterday. Brother Humo, you can do it. Shangguan Zhonghong is no match for you. Brother Hu, come on. Defeat Shangguan Shiwei. Shouts came from the tribe of tiger hunters, which was completely different from the solemn silence of the Spirit Ancient Village. At this moment, the people from the Spirit Ancient Village, including Shangguan Rock and the other 2 who had arrived last, were watching the 4 figures fighting in the field. Their brows were tightly knitted, and their expressions became dignified. Why is Hu here too? Shangguan Rock and the others were shocked. This is troublesome, I didn't expect Hu to be here too. Shangguan Yu whispered to Sui. Hu, he is also from the tribe of tiger hunters. Sui whispered, and his gaze was already sizing up the 4 people fighting in the field. Head be among the 4 people, Shangguan Shiwei was one of them. She was fighting with a young man wearing green clothes. Chapter 213. As for the other pair of figures, Sui had seen one of them before. One of them was a young man in a long robe. Sui had an impression of him last night. He should be Shangguan Zhonghong. However, at this moment, Shangguan Zhonghong's situation was not very good. His robe was ragged, his face was pale, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. The young man who was fighting against Shangguan Zhonghong had a round body. He wore a vest that exposed his arms. He was not very tall and had short black hair. However, his eyes were dazzling and his body emitted a powerful aura. Hu is about the same as Humo. These 2 are brothers and are very strong. If they join forces, their strength will be even more terrifying. Shangguan Rock replied to Sui. He was very clear about the strength of the 2 brothers, Hu and Humo. In the whole Spirit Ancient Village, only Brother Chun Feng could deal with these 2 brothers. Bang! In the blink of an eye, Shangguan Zhonghong was punched in the back again. His body staggered forward, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! His figure was like lightning. Although the young man's body was round and fat, his speed was incomparably agile. He arrived in front of Shangguan Zhonghong in an instant. He opened his fist, and a palm print instantly fell. Pucci, Shangguan Zhonghong could no longer hold on. His body flew backwards, dripping with blood. He fell heavily on the ground and was unable to get up. Brother Zhonghong. Shangguan Xiu and the others hurried forward and helped Shangguan Zhonghong up. Shangguan Zhonghong, you can't even withstand a single blow. The round young man glanced at Shangguan Zhonghong indifferently. Humo, you've gone too far. Shangguan Rock and the other young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village stepped forward angrily. What, have you come to help? How about all of you come together? Humo indifferently glanced at the people of Spirit Ancient Village and did not put them in his eyes. Ha ha ha, let's go together. Then let's do it. The 10 young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters laughed loudly. They were not afraid of the people of Spirit Ancient Village. We saw the green frost grass first. Let's fight it out with them. The Spirit Ancient Village was the first to see the green frost grass. The young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village could not take this lying down. They all drew their swords and were about to attack. Stop! Back off! Shangguan Shiwei took the opportunity to retreat, pulling away from Hu Yu. She turned around and looked at Shangguan Zhanghong, who was being helped up, with a grave expression. Sister Shiwei, they've gone too far. Brother Changhong has been seriously injured. The youths were unconvinced. Shangguan Zhanghong's injuries weren't light. They feared that he wouldn't be able to recover without several months of recuperation. I said back off, Shangguan Shiwei reprimanded. How could she not know that once they took action, it would be even more uncontrollable? It was difficult for the people of Spirit Ancient Village to be a match for the tribe of tiger hunters. When she arrived here, she found out that Hu Yu was also here. She was afraid that she would definitely suffer today. A wise man submits to circumstances. We saw the green frost grass a long time ago. We just didn't pick it. Shangguan Shiwei, if you're not convinced, you can come at me together. I'll give you a chance. One-on-one or together, it's up to you. I'm just afraid that your Spirit Ancient Village doesn't have the guts. Hu Mo said indifferently. He looked at Shangguan Shiwei and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He said, Why don't we give up on the green frost grass and give it to you? Consider it my betrothal gift to you. When you marry me, our tribe of tiger hunters and Spirit Ancient Village will be a family in the future. Bah, a toad wants to eat a swan's meat. Shangguan Yu cursed loudly. He pointed at Hu Mo and said, Hu Mo, why don't you take a look at yourself? You're so round. Which part of you is worthy of our sister Shiwei? Shangguan Yu, good, very good. Hearing this, Hu Mo's face suddenly turned gloomy. He stared at Hu Mo, I'll give you the green frost grass. I'll settle this account later. Shangguan Shiwei's big and beautiful eyes slightly flickered. Hu Mo and Hu Yu were both present. It was difficult for her to deal with them. Even if she didn't want to suffer this loss, she had to. She could only take it back in the future. I want the green frost grass. Moreover, Shangguan Yu has to explain to me how I'm a toad. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. Hu Mo stared at Shangguan Yu with a gloomy face. He couldn't endure this kind of humiliation. Shangguan Shiwei frowned. She originally wanted to scold, but she was a little embarrassed. Shangguan Yu's scolding had relieved her a lot. However, Hu Mo didn't seem to be willing to let it go. This was a little troublesome. You want to marry Sister Shiwei? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Otherwise, you would have realized that you're a toad. Shangguan Rock wasn't afraid and also scolded. The people of the tribe of tiger hunters are really shameless. They snatch the green frost grass and still want to eat the meat of a swan. Shangguan Yi didn't hold back. The three of them had a good relationship. Although Hu Mo was very strong, the three brothers wouldn't shrink back. Good, Shangguan Yu, Shangguan Yi, Shangguan Rock. Come out if you have the ability. Hu Mo stared coldly at Shangguan Yu. His face was already ashen. Fine, I'll come out. I'm not afraid of you. Shangguan Yu, Shangguan Yi, and Shangguan Rock said in unison and stepped out. Although they knew that the three of them together wouldn't be a match for Hu Mo, they weren't afraid. The three of you, Shangguan Shiwei's expression changed. Her charming face turned serious. She knew that the three of them together wouldn't be a match for Hu Mo. They would only be looking for a beating. In just an instant, Shangguan Shiwei's words came to an abrupt halt. A strange smile suddenly appeared on her solemn face. Because at this moment, there was a fourth youth beside Shangguan Yu and the other two. Shangguan Shiwei revealed a grin as she gazed at the fourth youth. She'd almost forgotten that fellow was here as well. The young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village originally wanted to advance and retreat together with Shangguan Rock and the others. However, they also saw the fourth youth beside Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and Shangguan Yi. He asterisk 3 original songs be distributed. When they saw the fourth youth, all the young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village smiled knowingly. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. Feeling the strangeness beside them, Shangguan Yu and the other two looked to the side and saw the fourth youth. When they saw the fourth youth, Shangguan Rock and the other two stared blankly for a moment. Then they smiled. The smiles on their faces were undisguised. "Brother Yi Su," Shangguan Rock said. "I think that guy looks like a toad too." Su Yi interrupted Shangguan Rock and looked at Hu Mo. He didn't hide his gaze and said to Shanghai Rock and the other two, "Look at that round one. He's a fat toad. Although he wants to eat swan meat, he's too fat. He definitely won't be able to catch up." "Fat toad, haha. Too fat, can't catch up, ha 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 ha." When the young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village heard this, they burst into laughter. They finally understood that this Isu was also a sharp-tongued guy. When it came to mocking others, he was even better than Shangguan Yu and the others. PFFF. Chapter 214. The entire place burst into laughter. Hu Mo and Hu Yu's gaze immediately landed on Su Yi. At this moment, all the boys and girls from the tribe of tiger hunters were staring at Su Yi in shock. After so many years, this fellow was definitely the first youth who dared to look down on Hu Mo. Hu Mo's face turned completely dark as the corners of his eyes twitched. Hu Mo had seen Su Yi before at the entrance of the canyon yesterday. This fellow was an outsider. "I know you. You're an outsider." Hu Mo opened his mouth as his expression turned increasingly gloomy. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. If this fellow was from the Spirit Ancient Village, the most he could do was teach him a lesson. He did not dare to go overboard. After all, although the youths of the Hunting Tiger Tribe, Barbarian Bear Tribe, Spirit Ancient Village, and the other tribes often fought with each other, they all understood in their hearts that even if they had an absolute advantage, they still wouldn't go too far. But now that this was an outsider, the situation was different. "In 19 years, you are the first and the last person who dared to speak to me like this. Therefore, no matter what happens today, you will become a cripple." As Hu Mo finished speaking, a powerful aura spread out from his rotund body. Faint black earth attribute Yuan Qi spread out like a tide and shook the surroundings. "Is the toad going to bite someone?" Su Yi looked at Hu Mo and smiled faintly. He was slightly surprised in his heart. From Hu Mo's aura, he seemed to be slightly stronger than Shangguan Mingho. He seemed to have reached the peak of the 4th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. But Su Yi knew in his heart that Hu Mo was at most slightly stronger than Shangguan Mingho. With his own combat strength, it should not be a problem. "The toad is going to bite someone, ha ha ha." The young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village laughed again. Facing the surging aura of Hu Mo, they were not worried at all. This Isu had easily defeated Shangguan Mingho last night. This Hu Mo would not be able to gain any advantage. "Brat, you want to die? Fight me if you have the ability!" Hu Mo shouted angrily. His face was ashen. He was completely enraged. This brat actually didn't put him in his eyes. Su Yi took 3 steps forward and looked at Hu Mo. He then raised his hand and pointed at Hu Yu. "I heard you two are brothers. Come at me together. Let me see the strength of the tribe of tiger hunters." As Su Yi's voice fell, the expressions of the youths from the Spirit Ancient Village, who had been laughing all over the place, immediately fell silent. Everyone looked at Su Yi, their faces involuntarily twitching. What was this guy trying to do? He actually wanted to deal with Hu Mo and Hu Yu at the same time? If Hu Mo and Hu Yu were to team up, even Brother Chen Feng would not dare to be careless. Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and Shangguan Yi were also stunned. Either Hu Mo or Hu Yu's strength was above Shangguan Mingho's. Especially Shangguan Shiwei, she knew very well that Hu Yu alone was not below her, and Hu Mo was even a bit above her. More importantly, if Hu Mo and Hu Yu were to team up, their battle strength would increase exponentially. But thinking about it carefully, Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Rock, and the others were not too worried. Because even the 5th-level demon Profound Realm Barbaric Heavenly Leopard was subdued by this guy. Even if Hu Mo and Hu Yu were to team up, it would still be difficult for them to deal with a 5th-level demon Profound Realm Barbaric Heavenly Leopard. Thinking of this, Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Yu, and the others revealed a smile on their faces, and their eyes were filled with anticipation. At this moment, everyone in the tribe of tiger hunters was stunned, and they were all astonished. This outsider actually wanted to deal with Hu Yu and Hu Mo at the same time. Was he courting death? Brat, you're too arrogant. Seeing that the outsider was actually pointing at him, Hu Yu's face turned cold. The Yuan Qi in his body surged, and he took a step forward. His aura shook, and a powerful force swept towards Sui. The aura swept out, blowing the sand and stones on the ground. Suyi's figure did not move, but his robe was slightly lifted. Looking at Hu Yu, Suyi's lips curled into an arc, and with a hint of arrogance he said, "You'd better come with your brother. You alone are not my match." Sui was not really arrogant, but he was clear that Hu Yu was indeed not his match. The Origin Supreme technique that he cultivated allowed him to have the strength to fight against those above his level. Look at the L** on the section of the original chapter. At this moment, Sui wanted to fight Hu Yu and Hu Mo, and he also wanted to understand the strength of the tribe of tiger hunters. Sui was very curious about this mysterious paradise. He had fought with the wild bear tribes Xiong Lai, and had also sparred with the spirit ancient villages Shangguan Mingho. Now, only the tribe of tiger hunters was left. Moreover, Sui had always been tempering himself in the barbarian demon forest, and it was difficult for him to come in contact with people of the same age. Now that he had come to this mysterious paradise and seen so many extraordinary peers, it also aroused the blood and vigor in Suyi's heart. If he could not sweep through his peers, then how could he talk about stepping onto the sacred mountain in the future? This would be another test. This was not being bossy and domineering, nor was it being arrogant and egotistical. This was a test. Such arrogance! The young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters couldn't help but have their hearts throbbing. This level of arrogance was probably comparable to the famous wild bear tribes Xiongzhan. He is really gutsy. Can he deal with Hu Yu and Hu Mo at the same time? The young men and women of the spirit ancient village secretly smacked their lips and felt apprehensive. Even though they knew that Sui was very strong and that Shangguan Mingho wasn't a match for him, but to deal with Hu Yu and Hu Mo at the same time, to deal with you, there is no need for my brother to make a move. Hu Yu spoke, and just as he finished speaking, a valiant aura swept out from his body. Peak of the 4th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. Sensing the aura from Hu Yu's body, Shangguan Shiwei slightly frowned and knitted her brows. Originally, she only felt that Hu Yu wasn't inferior to her, but now, Shangguan Shiwei understood that Hu Yu was almost at the 5th level of the Yuan Profound Realm and had surpassed her by a little. I said that you are not a match for me alone. Facing Hu Yu's unreserved aura, Sui still had a calm expression. The expression in his eyes was still as if he didn't put Hu Yu in his eyes. Facing Suyi's attitude, the tribe of tiger hunters and everyone from the spirit ancient village instantly quietened down. Could it be that they felt that this fellow was a little too arrogant and conceited? Seeing Suyi's expression, Hu Yu, who was already enraged in his heart, turned ashen. A surge of fire-attributed energy surged within his body as his robes fluttered, and his gaze gradually surged with a chilling light. You are courting death. Just as Hu Yu finished speaking, a scarlet light surged out, blazing and astonishing. He took a step forward, and his speed was as fast as lightning, violent and astonishing. He instantly arrived in front of Sui. A terrifying aura swept out, causing sand and rocks to fly everywhere. The surrounding rocks that weighed dozens of kilograms were all swept away. The energy on Hu Yu's fist leaked out as if it was wrapped in a layer of fire, and instantly blasted towards Su Yi. Chapter 2:15. Come! In the face of Hu Yu's punch, Su Yi did not retreat. Instead, he advanced without dodging. His black hair danced in the air as a mighty and overbearing aura spread out for no reason. His arm trembled as a palm was directly thrown forward to meet the punch head-on. Boom! Everything happened very quickly. Coupled with the fact that Hu Yu had suddenly attacked in rage, the fist and palm collided in an instant. A low muffled sound of energy instantly rang out. When the fist and palm collided, light overflowed in all directions. The same fire attribute Yuan Qi crazily surged and quickly rushed out. Crack crack, the surrounding ground also trembled, and cracks spread out from the ground. Facing the lightning-fast and incomparably powerful Hu Yu's all-out attack, the boys and girls of the tribe of tiger hunters all revealed smiles, waiting for the brat to be sent flying by Hu Yu. However, what happened next was out of the tribe of tiger hunters' expectations. They did not see Su Yi being sent flying. Instead, they saw the fist and palm collide, and immediately came to a stalemate. Everyone's gaze suddenly shifted and landed on the place where the fist and palm collided. They saw that Su Yi's palm had forcefully blocked Hu Yu's punch. However, at a speed visible to the naked eye, the light in front of Su Yi's palm print began to dim, devoured by the blazing flames on Hu Yu's fist. Ha 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 ha, so that's all you have? Then it's over. Hu Yu laughed. Suddenly, the Yuan Qi in his body circulated to the extreme. Blazing fire attribute Yuan Qi burst out, forming a Yuan Qi barrier on the surface of his body. At the same time, a terrifying aura surged on Hu Yu's fist. Without the slightest pause, it was as if a resplendent flame was blooming on his fist. A berserk force rushed towards Su Yi's palm print. Fire Shadow Fist, Traceless Fire Shadow. With a low roar, Hu Yu exploded with all his strength. A blazing and ferocious force erupted, and the force on his fist was like layers of fire shadows, rushing towards Su Yi's fist with an earth-shattering force. This is brother Hu Yu's ultimate move. That guy is looking for a beating. Seeing Hu Yu's imposing manner, the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters cheered. The young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village were also secretly shocked. Hu Yu was indeed one of the best in the younger generation of the tribe of tiger hunters. This kind of strength was enough to prove everything. Su Yi could see the fiery shockwaves growing larger and larger in his eyes. That terrifying, fiery aura was already rushing towards him. Very strong. Su Yi secretly sighed in admiration. This Hu Yu indeed had outstanding aspect. Such offensive strength was probably comparable to an ordinary 5th-level Yuan profound stage practitioner. However, it was still not enough to make Su Yi cower with just this kind of battle strength and attack. Compared to Hu Yu, Su Yi had also fought and defeated opponents stronger than him. For example, the barbaric Nether Heavenly Leopard. Su Yi's palm trembled slightly. It looked like the light was being devoured, but in reality, there was a red light condensing. Very strong, but like I said, you alone are not my match. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yi's lips curled into a confident smile. He clenched his fist and then suddenly shook. All of a sudden, fire-attributed Yuan Qi surged, as if an open flame had appeared in front of Su Yi's palm. That blazing aura caused the surrounding air to burn, causing one's skin to burn and hair to stand on end. At this moment, Hu Yu's pupils abruptly shrank as if he had sensed something. Hu Yu, be careful. At the same time, Hu Mo, who was patrolling the area, also seemed to have sensed something. His expression drastically changed as a trace of astonishment flashed across his face. His figure immediately pounced forward. Boom. Hu Mo's chubby figure was abnormally fast at this moment, like a fat tiger hunting for its prey. However, it seemed to be a little too slow. As his palm withdrew and shook, Su Yi's lips curled into a faint smile as he muttered, "Explode." Bam! A muffled explosion sounded out. This explosion came from Su Yi's palm. At this moment, Su Yi's palm seemed to contain a small volcano. The blazing aura compressed and expanded, and his mouth exploded like a bomb. Rumble, the muffled sound was like thunder. It was as if a small volcano had erupted. The blazing air was like a small tornado that surged in all directions. Pucci, facing such an unforeseen event, Hu Yu's fist was immediately swallowed and then exploded. His face instantly turned as pale as ash, and at the same time, his body was sent flying. Starting from his fist, the Yuan Qi barrier on his body shattered inch by inch, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Hu Yu! With a loud shout, Hu Mo had already pounced forward. Black Earth attribute Yuan Qi surged, and a black fist shadow with a thick and continuous force had already appeared in front of Su Yi. Woo-woo! Before the punch, the air was filled with the sound of breaking wind. The ear-piercing sonic boom formed a resonance in the air, as if the entire space was trembling. Come! Feeling the ferocity of Hu Mo's punch, Su Yi seemed to have been prepared. The Yuan Qi in his body surged, and a special fighting spirit surged in his eyes. The attribute of his Yuan Qi suddenly changed. A similar earth attribute Yuan Qi surged out, and his aura suddenly soared. 7 Wounds Fist. With a low roar, almost at the same time, Su Yi's right arm shook. Black Yuan Qi surged, and his fist shrank and pushed forward. It contained a tyrannical and heavy force as it suddenly blasted towards the former's fist. Bam! The two fists suddenly collided. Yuan Qi collided, and the muffled sound of energy was like thunder, resounding through the air. Rumble, sand and stones flew in all directions, and dust surged. Tiny cracks constantly spread out on the ground like a spider web climbing out. Pucci, in the terrifying wind, accompanied by the sound of blood spurting out, a fat figure fell out from the wind and heavily smashed into the ground. The figure rolled close to the ground for several feet, and only stopped when it hit a huge rock. However, the huge rock was hit by the impact and almost split open. Everyone's gazes followed the direction where the figure had shot out from. When they saw the person who had shot out, the entire place fell silent and was shocked. The person who fell out was Hu Mo. At this moment, Hu Mo's clothes were almost torn to pieces by the wind. His body was stained with blood, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. The skin on Hu Mo's fist was also cracked, and blood was flowing out. It was obvious that Su Yi's fist had broken it. To be able to defeat Hu Mo in one move, and to be able to break his fist like this, how terrifying was this battle strength! Everyone present was extraordinary in the younger generation, and such simple logic was not difficult to understand. The two brothers, Hu Yu and Hu Mo, were wriggling their bodies with difficulty, as if they wanted to get up, but they did not succeed several times. The people of the tribe of tiger hunters were so shocked that they could not recover for a long time, and even forgot to help them up. Swish swish, everyone's gaze fell on Su Yi's body with a swish swish sound. The young man's thin body was like a mountain, and he did not move at all. The tribe of tiger hunters, who originally did not put him in their eyes, suddenly felt a chill from the bottom of their hearts. No one would have thought that the second and third person of the tribe of tiger hunters' younger generation would be defeated so easily. Chapter 216. At this moment, the dozen or so young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters were even more shocked. The impact on their hearts was too great. In their hearts, with Hu Yu and Hu Mo working together, even brother Hu Qi would not be able to defeat them easily. Hu Mo and Hu Yu were ranked second and third in the younger generation of the tribe of tiger hunters. They were the targets that they had been striving to catch up to. But now, the targets that they had been striving to catch up to had been defeated in such a way. Furthermore, the two of them had been defeated together. Furthermore, The other party was just a young man, which made them unable to believe it. Looking at such a thin figure, the dozen or so young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters felt a chill from the depths of their hearts. This young man was too frightening. Goo goo, the young men and women of the spirit ancient village also secretly swallowed their saliva. At this moment, they finally understood that in the battle with Shangguan Mingho last night, this guy had purposely given Shangguan Mingho 2 moves at the beginning. This was to give Shangguan Mingho face. Otherwise, Shangguan Mingho would not have been able to withstand one move from this guy. Ignoring the two brothers, Hu Mo and Hu Yu, who had been sent flying, Su Yi was well aware of the strength that he had used. Immediately, Su Yi's gaze stared at the crack of a huge rock in front of him. There was a palm-sized spirit grass there. This spirit grass was sparkling and translucent. Light lingered around it, and it was filled with an icy aura. It was as if it was covered with a layer of frost. It was a stalk of green frost grass. Taking large strides, Su Yi leaped onto the huge rock and pulled out the green frost grass. Seeing that Su Yi had pulled out the green frost grass, the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters did not dare to make a sound. Some of the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters came back to their senses and helped Hu Yu and Hu Mo up. With a surge of yuan qi, Su Yi leaped from the huge rock in front of Shangguan Zhanghong. He handed the green frost grass to Shangguan Zhanghong and said, "The green frost grass should belong to the spirit ancient village. Since you've defeated them, this green frost grass is yours." Shangguan Zhanghong's eyes were still filled with shock. Seeing Su Yi actually give him the blue frost grass, he was also quite surprised. However, since Hu Mo and Hu Yu were defeated by Yi Su, this azure frost grass should also belong to Yi Su. "Are you the one who saw it first? Naturally it's yours." Su Yi smiled and stuffed the blue frost grass into Shangguan Zhanghong's hand. It wasn't that Su Yi was being generous, but rather, even though the green frost grass was valuable and was the main ingredient for refining the mid-level churn-grade cold spirit pill, Su Yi had already planted several stalks of green frost grass in the mysterious space. Furthermore, Su Yi had drunk quite a bit of Spirit Ancient Village's 100-fruit wine last night, and Su Tianke had gotten into trouble. Therefore, he was too embarrassed to take the green frost grass. The reason why Su Yi chose to make a move just now was because he wanted to test himself, and also because he wanted to express his gratitude by making a move. "Alright, take it." Shangguan Shiwei spoke as she looked at Su Yi. The shock in her eyes had yet to subside. She wasn't surprised by Su Yi's victory. After all, she had personally witnessed the barbaric nether heavenly leopard, who was at the 5th level of the origin profound realm, being subdued by this guy. However, Hu Mo and Hu Yu were defeated in such a way that they couldn't even withstand a single blow. Shangguan Shiwei couldn't help but feel astonished. Seeing that Shangguan Shiwei had spoken, Shangguan Zhanghong didn't say anything else. He smiled at Su Yi to express his gratitude. It wasn't for the blue frost grass, but more importantly, he had helped Spirit Ancient Village regain their face. "Haha, you dare to snatch the blue frost grass with such little strength? You can't even withstand a single blow. The tribe of tiger hunters is getting weaker and weaker. Hu Mo and Hu Yu are only SOSO. They can't even withstand a single blow from brother Yi Su." Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and Shangguan Yi weren't surprised. However, they were still astonished and immediately burst into laughter as they felt relieved. For the past few years, they had been bullied by Hu Mo and Hu Yu from the tribe of tiger hunters. However, their skills were inferior and they weren't strong enough. Every time they encountered them, they could only take a detour. Today was different. It wasn't easy for Shangguan Rock and the other two to seize the opportunity. Naturally, they wouldn't miss it. The tribe of tiger hunters are only SOSO. The few young men and women from Spirit Ancient Village were extremely excited as they felt relieved. Huemo had already stabilized himself and cast a cold glance at Shangguan Rock and the others. The tiger still had some lingering prestige. Looking at Humo's gaze, Shangguan Rock and the others couldn't help but secretly evade their gazes. #A edition O #our hair. Isu I Huemo will remember this. Humo's gaze finally landed on Su-yi. His face was deathly pale and his eyes were filled with shock. In the depths of his heart, Huemo couldn't accept this reality. He was already one step away from the 5th level of the profound origin realm. However, he was actually heavily injured by a brat at the 2nd level of the profound origin realm. Even Hu Qi couldn't have done this when he was at the 2nd level of the profound origin realm. This young man's strength was too terrifying. As soon as Huemo finished speaking, he waved his hand at the people around him and turned to leave. He had already suffered today, and he could only take revenge next time. Did I allow you to leave? Su-yi raised his eyes and called out to Huemo. A trace of a smile surged from his eyes and landed on Huemo and the other young men and women. I've already given you the azure frost grass. What else do you want? Huemo turned his head and looked at Su-yi. His eyes were filled with doubt, unwillingness and anger. Could it be that this guy still wanted to humiliate them? You've lost, and you want to leave just like that? Su-yi looked at Huemo and the corners of his mouth curved upwards. He said, Everyone, leave your belongings behind. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. When they heard Su-yi's words, everyone was stunned. Brother Isu, are you trying to rob us? Shangguan Yen, and the others were stunned. This was clearly a bit like a robbery. You want us to leave our belongings behind? Huemo felt that he must have misheard. That's right. As long as you have something on you, leave it behind. This is the price of losing. Su-yi nodded very seriously. With Huemo and Huyu's status in the tribe of tiger hunters, Su-yi guessed that the two of them must have some good stuff on them. Su-yi was very curious about the tribe of tiger hunters. This was also a good opportunity for him to understand the tribe of tiger hunters. Hearing Su-yi's words, the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters were stunned. What if we don't leave it behind? Huyu stared at Su-yi with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Huyu was badly injured. Su-yi's scarlet flame palm had exploded, blowing up his fist. His clothes were tattered, and many parts of his body had been burnt by the flames. He was covered in dust and grime, looking very miserable. If you don't leave it behind, then I can only be impolite. I'll take it myself. Su-yi smiled and strode forward. Seeing Su-yi walk over, the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters immediately grasped their weapons and were ready for battle. Kid, don't be too arrogant. When Brother Hu Qi comes out of seclusion, he will definitely not let you go. A young man walked out angrily, gritting his teeth as he stared at Su-yi. However, there was a flicker in his eyes. It was obvious that he was afraid and had lingering fears. Then I'll start with you. Chapter 217. Qi-la. Under the Fuyao 100 transformation steps, Su-yi's figure left behind a series of afterimages. His figure enlarged rapidly in the young man's eyes. Bang! The young man wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Before he could react, a muffled sound came from his chest. Under the impact of a huge force, he was directly knocked down. Seeing Su-yi's instant attack, everyone was stunned. This is too much. Fight them. A warrior prefers death to humiliation. Fight. The spirit ancient village is too much. Fight. The hunting tiger tribe was furious. The group of people were all hot-blooded and vigorous. Who could endure such humiliation? If they could endure it, what could they endure? Boom. 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 Suddenly, a dozen auras surged and exploded. These auras were not ordinary. Now that they gathered together, it was even more shocking. The momentum was not to be underestimated. You want to bully us with numbers? Everyone, attack. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Everyone, attack together. Brother Isu, I'm here to help you. Seeing this situation, Shangguan Rock, Shanghai Rock, and Shangguan Yi immediately rushed up. Everyone, attack together. The remaining young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village also rushed up. With Su Yi leading them, their confidence increased. Bang bang bang. At this moment, Su Yi did not hold back. Without saying a word, he directly attacked. The Fuyao 100 transformation steps was as fast as lightning. Su Yi also did not hold back. A few young men who surrounded him were blasted away as soon as they got close. Fight. Shangguan Rock and Shangguan Yu had already rushed up and attacked. Swoosh swoosh. A young girl of the tribe of tiger hunters, who was about the same age as Su Yi, swung her shining sword towards Su Yi with a torrential sword chi. Su Yi raised his hand and his fist was wrapped in black earth attribute Yuan Qi. Using the 100 transformation steps, his figure dodged the tip of the sword, and his fist landed on the body of the sword. Bang! The sword clanged loudly. The girl's long sword was shaken off, and her body was sent flying. Su Yi seemed to have already noticed a young man's long staff sweeping towards him. Yuan Qi gushed out from his feet and his figure leaped, avoiding the staff. At the same time, his fist swooped down and landed on the young man's shoulder. The young man screamed in pain. His shoulder was in so much pain that he couldn't lift his arm. He fell to the ground. The youth's shoulder bones seemed to have been fractured as he lay on the ground, wailing endlessly. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters were swept away by Su Yi, while the rest were rushed up by Shangguan Rock and the others. Bang bang! Su Yi wasn't polite at all. His fists and palms blasted out, and some people were directly sent flying. Retreat, retreat quickly! Huemo shouted loudly. Looking at the scene in front of him, his eyes were filled with rage. However, it was too late. With Su Yi sweeping away, this kind of fierce battle ended with an irresistible force. In less than a minute, the young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters were taken down. It's your turn. Su Yi's figure appeared in front of Huemo and Huyu. Bang bang! The pitiful Huyu wanted to, but he was powerless. His body was sent flying again, and he fell heavily on the ground. He couldn't even get up. Isu, just you wait! Huemo shouted furiously, but he was powerless to resist. I said that I won't be polite. Su Yi chuckled and strode to Humo's side. He fumbled around in his clothes and took out a space bag. Then, he didn't let Huyu go and took another space bag. Search, don't let anything go. Looking at Su Yi's actions, Shangguan Rock and the others were stunned for a moment, but they immediately joined in. Search, don't let anything go. The young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village were stunned. They looked at each other, but immediately followed suit. Spirit Ancient Village, you're humiliating me. I'm not done with you. Bastard, you Spirit Ancient Village are too much. The young men and women of the tribe of tiger hunters shouted angrily, but they were unable to stop it. Cut the crap, believe it or not, I'll beat you up again. Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu and the others didn't hold back. They felt that they could hold their heads high today. All the young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village were still hesitating. The tribe of tiger hunters, the wild bear tribe, and the Spirit Ancient Village, in these years, the young people of the Spirit Ancient Village often had conflicts and fights, winning and losing. Even the Spirit Ancient Village, who had won many times in recent years, was bullied miserably. However, they were definitely not swept away by the tribe of tiger hunters and the wild bear tribe. Moreover, they were robbed clean. This was equivalent to robbery. But for some reason, this feeling made the young men and women of the Spirit Ancient Village feel very good. Shangguan Shiwei didn't make a move. Looking at the scene in front of her, she blinked, thinking that her eyes were playing tricks on her. But the scene in front of her was so real. That guy was leading the people of the Spirit Ancient Village to rob the tribe of tiger hunters. Everything came to an end very quickly. The dozen or so youths of the hunting tiger tribe were lying on the ground in a disorderly manner. They had been plundered clean, and even their weapons had been taken away. All of them were screaming and wailing miserably as they cursed endlessly. On the contrary, the group of people of the Spirit Ancient Village were singing. They were in a good mood and left happily. It's so satisfying. On the way, Shangguan Xiu rode on the spirit horse. Her heart was jumping with excitement. She had never felt so satisfied before. It's so satisfying. Ah! In the future, when the people of the tribe of tiger hunters see us, they will probably take a detour. Everyone was excited. They had never felt so good before. Brother Yi, good job. Everyone was especially enthusiastic about Yi. Everyone knew that if it wasn't for Yi, the Spirit Ancient Village would have suffered a great loss. Hee, Sui laughed. The Spirit Ancient Village didn't seem to be afraid of the tribe of tiger hunters. Even if there was any trouble, the Spirit Ancient Village would block it. No matter what, he was helping the Spirit Ancient Village today. When the crowd returned to the village cheering, it was already dusk and the sun was setting in the west. What's wrong? Why are you so happy? From afar, someone in the village heard the cheers and came out to welcome them. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Xiu and the others gave a general description of the situation. With some embellishments they described it vividly. Hu Mo's Tiger Leap couldn't even withstand a single blow? He defeated the people of the tribe of tiger hunters. It's so satisfying. I regret not going today. Soon, the news of what happened today had spread throughout the village. It even alarmed the elders and experts of the village. Brother Yi, did you really defeat the people of the tribe of tiger hunters? A young child came forward and looked at Yi curiously. His big black eyes were full of spirit as he blinked. Yi patted the little boy's head and nodded. Chapter 218. Big Brother Yi, you defeated the tribe of tiger hunters. This is for you. Mother said that you'll become smarter and stronger after eating this. You must eat it. A little girl who was about 3 or 4 years old walked up to Yi. She had 2 pigtails and was blinking her black eyes. She handed a peeled egg to Yi. Okay. Looking at the little girl's eyes, Yi nodded. He took the egg and stuffed it into his mouth. Big Brother Yi, I still have some savage beast meat. Big Brother Yi, eat mine. I have an egg too. Instantly, a few of the little guys surrounded Yi in the middle. Their tender little faces were filled with curiosity and admiration. Shangguan Shiwei's eyes lit up as she looked at the skinny figure who was surrounded by a group of little fellows. When Yi returned to his room, it was already late at night. Yi was a little worried when he still did not see Su Tianke. In his room, Yi sat cross-legged on the windowsill. There were 2 interspatial bags in his arms. Yi had obtained them from Hu Mo and Hu Yu. There were no restrictions in the interspatial bags, so they could be opened directly. Hu Yu and Hu Mo probably never thought that their interspatial bags would be robbed one day. However, Yi was slightly disappointed by the items inside the interspatial bag. Although there were some 1-star and 2-star spiritual stones and a few elixirs in the interspatial bags, their value was nothing compared to Yi's current status. There were also some miscellaneous items and medicinal herbs. Yi originally thought that Hu Mo and Hu Yu, who were members of the tribe of tiger hunters, would have some extraordinary martial arts techniques in the interspatial bags. However, there were no martial arts techniques in their interspatial bags. With some disappointment, Yi continued to sit cross-legged and began to regulate his breathing. Although he wasn't in the mysterious space, Yi's cultivation speed wasn't slow by just relying on the primordial origin supreme technique. The night was quiet and the curtain of night covered the sky. Awoo, in a boundless mountain range, the roars of beasts could be heard. The huge cave was smooth and tidy, and the walls were carved with many tiger-shaped runes. They were like living creatures, and they added a fierce aura to the cave. This is too much. Is the spirit ancient village trying to provoke us? Unprecedented, unprecedented. The spirit ancient village must be provoking our tribe of tiger hunters. Where did that outsider kid come from? Is he really that strong? However, the tribe of tiger hunters was not peaceful at this moment. Hu Yu, and more than 10 other juniors had been trampled on so miserably, shocking the entire tribe of tiger hunters. The night passed in silence. Early the next morning, Su-Yi stopped his breathing. Phew, he pushed open the door and stretched. The sun was shining brightly, and Su-Yi was in a good mood. It had been a long time since he enjoyed such a peaceful morning. A tiger in the plains will be bullied by dogs, and a dragon in the shallows will be teased by shrimps, a voice muttered, and it was filled with an indescribable sense of worry. Su-Yi looked in the direction of the voice and saw Su Tianke walking slowly into the courtyard with his tail between his legs. He looked good, but his expression was a little sad. "You're back!" Su-Yi raised his eyebrows and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. "Of course, I taught that evil beast a lesson." Looking at Su-Yi, Su Tianke suddenly became arrogant. He held his head high and swaggered over. Su-Yi rolled his eyes at Su Tianke. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to this guy. He knew without asking that this guy didn't have any advantage at all. "Brother Su!" Someone shouted from outside the courtyard. It was Shangguan Rock and the others. Su-Yi walked out and saw Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yi, and Shangguan Yu. "Brother Su, we're going to the Demon Mountain to hunt today. Do you want to come?" Shangguan Rock and the others immediately ran in when they saw Su-Yi. "Hunt?" Su-Yi was a little puzzled. "It's like this. In every decennial event, the younger generation of the tribe of tiger hunters, wild bear tribe, and spirit ancient village will take turns to hunt at the Demon Mountain. The savage beasts they hunt will be provided to the elders of the 2 tribes and 1 village. This time, it's our spirit ancient village's turn. The higher the level of savage beasts we hunt, the more glorious it will be," Shangguan Yi explained when he saw Su-Yi's puzzled expression. "Is that so?" Su-Yi nodded. He seemed to be very interested. Since he was bored these days, he might as well go and take a look. "Will there be meat to eat during the hunt? I want to go too." Su Tianke rushed out of the room, his eyes gleaming. Not long after, Su-Yi saw Shangguan Shiwei at the entrance of the village. She was dressed in tight clothes, and her figure was graceful and valiant. This time, Shangguan Shiwei was leading the group to the Demon Mountain. Many little fellows were present, and they all wanted to go. "Little guys, stay here obediently and cultivate in the village." An elder spoke. It was very dangerous to go to the Demon Mountain, and the little fellows were not strong enough. "Children, pay attention to your safety. Don't be reckless and don't overdo it. Go early and come back early." An elder spoke. The path to the Demon Mountain was not short, and it would take a few days to go back and forth. "Let's go." At the entrance of the village, a huge flying savage beast flapped its wings and left the village. "Come back early." The little fellows looked at the disappearing figure in midair, and their eyes were filled with anticipation. Rumble, not long after Su-Yi and the others left, outside the spirit ancient village, a savage beast mount galloped over, shaking the earth and mountains. Roar, the leader was a big tiger with a white forehead. It was huge and had a fierce aura. Its eyes were like bells, and it was glaring covetously, making people's hearts palpitate for no reason. The spirit ancient village has gone too far, too far. On the back of the white forehead big tiger, there was an old man in his 60s. A few long whiskers fluttered in the wind. He had a wide forehead, a big face, and bright eyes. "Elder Hu Yen of the tribe of tiger hunters is here." Elder Hu Yen is Hu Mo and Hu Yu's grandfather. It seems like he's here for Hu Mo and Hu Yu. I heard that Hu Mo and Hu Yu were beaten up by Yi Su yesterday. They must be here to cause trouble. Such a commotion alarmed the spirit ancient village, and many people immediately walked out. Hu Yen, what is the meaning of this? An old man walked out from the spirit ancient village. His hair was silver white, and he was dressed in a plain robe. His aura was extraordinary. What do I mean? Don't you know? It's fine if you hurt someone, but you actually snatch their space bag. Does your spirit ancient village have any shame now? This is provoking my tribe of tiger hunters. Hu Yen was furious. His voice was mixed with yuan qi and shook the void. 2 of his most valued grandsons had been beaten up and robbed. Not only was this a humiliation and provocation to the tribe of tiger hunters, but it also made him unable to raise his head in the tribe of tiger hunters. How could he not be angry? This. Chapter 219. Indeed, the tribe of tiger hunters, the wild bear tribe, and the spirit ancient village's younger generation had always had some dispute. All of this was also within the scope of the elders' tacit agreement, so that the younger generation could compare and compete with each other. However, they had also heard about the situation yesterday. After teaching them a lesson, they actually robbed the tribe of tiger hunters clean. This was really the first time, and no one had ever done this before. The spirit ancient village must give me an explanation today, or my tribe of tiger hunters will not let you off. Elder Hu Yen came aggressively, and naturally, he would not give up. If he did not get back his face, how could he have the face to go back? Elder Hu Yen, this is a misunderstanding. In the spirit ancient village, although the elders felt that they had vented their anger yesterday, they also felt that they were in the wrong, and their tones softened a lot. What misunderstanding? Hurting and robbing, this kind of behavior is too shameful. Elder Hu Yen was not forgiving. A child lost a fight and a grandfather actually came out. Hu Yen, you really made me think highly of you. Suddenly, such a faint voice was heard, resounding through the village entrance. Tringya, hearing this, Hu Yan's expression darkened and his eyes flickered. His angry expression immediately became a little timid. Get lost, the younger generation's matters will naturally be settled by the younger generation. You shamelessly came out, don't you think it's embarrassing? Do you want me to send you away? The faint voice seemed to have an additional sense of dignity. Hu Yan's eyes trembled, and he looked at the spirit ancient village. His expression seemed to be very fearful. Let's go. In the end, Hu Yan's expression was very ugly, and he waved his hand and left quickly. The demon Luo mountain is very big, bigger than the spirit ancient village, wild bear tribe, and tribe of tiger hunters combined. That is the place with the most savage beasts, and it is said that there are even demon emperor-level savage beasts in the demon Luo mountain. But fortunately, as long as you don't go too deep, the level of the savage beasts won't be too high. On the back of the flying savage beast, Su-Yi learned about the situation of the demon Luo mountain. The demon Azura mountain was quite a distance away from the spirit ancient village. It would take at least a day to reach the spirit ancient village by riding a flying barbaric beast. This time, other than Su-Yi and Su Tianke, there were a total of 10 people from spirit ancient village. Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, Shangguan Yi, and the 6 young men and women that Su-Yi had met yesterday. Shangguan Zhanghong was seriously injured, so he was not present. Shangguan Mingho seemed to have not recovered from his injuries and was not present. However, the delicate and pretty girl called Shangguan Xiao from yesterday was present. Everyone, conserve your energy. When we reach Demon Azura Mountain, it will be almost nighttime. It will be very dangerous. Shangguan Shiwei reminded everyone. Although everyone was excited and expectant, they didn't dare to be careless. They began to close their eyes and rest. Going to the Demon Azura Mountain at night was undoubtedly more dangerous than going during the day. How big is this place? Su-yi didn't close his eyes to rest. He was very curious and asked Shangguan Shiwei. This place was isolated from the rest of the world and covered a large area, but for some reason, no one had ever discovered it. There are many places here that we don't know. Shangguan Shiwei shook her head. Have you all never thought of going out? Su-yi knew that there was an ancestral rule in Spirit Ancient Village that no one was allowed to go out. However, if it was him, it would be difficult for him to do so. He didn't know why the Spirit Ancient Village, tribe of tiger hunters, and wild bear tribe had the same ancestral rule. Shangguan Shiwei's eyes were empty. After hesitating for a moment, she replied to Su-yi, I once overheard a conversation between grandmother and Elder Ji. It seems that the ancestors are hiding here because they are hiding from a powerful enemy. If we go out, we will attract a fatal disaster. Su-yi's eyes moved. If this was true, then the enemies of Spirit Ancient Village, Wild Bear Tribe, and Tribe of Tiger Hunters would be extremely powerful. Judging from the situation in the Spirit Ancient Village, the ancestors of the Spirit Ancient Village and the Barbarian Bear Tribe must have been terrifying experts. One could imagine the strength of the people who could make them hide and run for their lives. After this competition, the village will agree to the conditions that I proposed. Then, I will send you away. Shangguan Shiwei thought that Su-yi wanted to leave, and the light in her eyes dimmed. Su-yi didn't say anything. He only smiled faintly, not knowing what to say. It wasn't that Su-yi wanted to leave the village. On the contrary, if possible, Su-yi really didn't want to leave. Although Su-yi had just entered the village not long ago, everything he had experienced in the past 2 days in the village was incomparably intimate. This village was simple and kind. The benevolence of the elders, the smiling faces of the children, everything moved Su-yi's heart and made him want to stay. However, Su-yi was very clear that he didn't know how his grandfather's injuries were. There were still some debts that he hadn't settled yet. Hu Yong returned to the tribe of tiger hunters. Under the expectant gazes of many tribesmen, his expression was not good and he seemed to be dejected. This debt can't be settled like this. Our tribe of tiger hunters will definitely not admit defeat. At dusk, many youths of the tribe of tiger hunters gathered together. Their faces were filled with anger. Tiger Cub, brother Huemo and brother Hu you are no match for them. We can't do anything. What else can we do? Some youths surrounded a 15 or 16-year-old youth and asked. They seemed helpless. Even Huemo and Hu you were no match for them. With their cultivation, what else could they do? Spirit Ancient Village is too shameless. Do they really think that there is no way to deal with them? The youth who was called Tiger Cub sneered. He seemed very confident and said, looking at the time, there should be people from Spirit Ancient Village going to Demon Mountain. Tiger Cub, I'm afraid that we are no match for them. Some youths were worried. They knew that the people from Spirit Ancient Village were going to Demon Mountain. Not to mention Isu, they were not even a match for some of the people from Spirit Ancient Village. Huemo and Hu Yu were seriously injured. Brother Hu Chi was in seclusion preparing for the battle in a few days. There was no one else who could lead the group to fight against the people from Spirit Ancient Village. Third Grandpa also suffered a loss today. This debt must be settled. Even if we are no match for them, can't we think of a way? Tiger Cub seemed to have a plan. He seemed very confident and said, if you have the guts, come with me to Demon Mountain. I promise that this time, those guys from Spirit Ancient Village will pay back double. Okay, I'll go. I'll go too. After hesitating for a while, the youths looked at each other. Then, someone raised his hand. If they could really deal with the people from Spirit Ancient Village, then their status in the tribe would be different in the future. Brother Xiong Lai, it's confirmed. That kid called Isu has indeed gone to Demon Mountain. In the Wild Bear tribe, a youth reported to Xiong Lai. He had confirmed the news. That youth called Su had already gone to Demon Mountain. Okay, this debt must be settled. Read the original chapter of G1 on UI. Chapter 220. The mountain range was undulating, and huge trees were everywhere. Q. At dusk, the sunset glow lingered on the mountain peak like a red mist. The roars of beasts could be heard faintly. The flying beasts landed and were unable to enter the mountain range. Su-yi, Shangguan Shiwei, and Shangguan Rock flew down. We are here. This is the Demon Luo Mountain. All the youths of the Spirit Ancient Village were nervous and expectant. From morning till dusk, they finally arrived at the Demon Luo Mountain. If they could hunt some powerful beasts, it would bring glory to the Spirit Ancient Village. There seems to be a lot of beasts. Su Tianke stood by Su Yi's side. His small body lifted his head and his small eyes darted around. Prepare to find a place to rest at the foot of the mountain. We will hunt tomorrow. Shangguan Shiwei spoke. She was decisive and didn't plan to go up the mountain overnight. It was more dangerous at night than during the day. If they weren't careful, they wouldn't be hunting anymore. Instead, they would become the prey of the beasts. She didn't want any accidents to happen to the people who came out with her today. She wanted to bring them all back. No one objected. It was indeed more dangerous at night. The group found a place to rest. They had a good vantage point and planned to hunt the next morning. By the time they were done, the sun had already set and night had fallen. The bonfire flickered. Everyone sat together and planned how to hunt the next day. Not all beasts can be eaten. Some beasts aren't weak, but their meat is tough and won't melt even after being stewed. For example, the rock lizard. Other beasts won't eat its meat. There are also the smelly hell rat and other beasts. Their meat is sour and smelly. It's impossible to eat them. For example, the 8-treasure spirit rabbit, single-horned red bull, 3-horned gale goat, and other beasts are the best choices. Their meat is fresh and tender. The group of youths sat together. Su-yi learned a lot about hunting from the group. Not all beasts could be eaten. They had to choose carefully. Gu, Su Tianke listened and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Why is this chicken so greedy? Shangguan Xiu looked at Su Tianke curiously. It was her first time seeing such a greedy chicken. I'm a frog in a well, I'm not a chicken. Su Tianke glared at Shangguan Xiu, but he did not dare to say that he was a peacock. He felt very aggrieved. The people in this village grew up eating demonic beasts. If they had an appetite for peacocks, he would be in big trouble. Isu, what's it like outside? A young girl mustered up her courage and asked Su-yi. Her eyes flickered as she looked towards the outside world. She wanted to know more about it. The outside world is extremely large. There are great mountains, lakes, and vast seas. Just how large is it exactly? It is rumored that there are some experts who can't cross it in their entire lives. There's 1 mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 groups outside. It's bustling and lively. Su-yi smiled and told everyone about the situation outside. Hearing Su-yi's words, everyone looked forward to it. Shangguan Shiwei didn't say anything and just listened quietly at the side. Occasionally, her exceptionally bright eyes would fall on Su-yi's body. Are those people outside all as powerful as you? Do they all have the same talent and aptitude as you? Shangguan Xiu asked. Su-yi hesitated for a moment and smiled bitterly. He looked at everyone's concerned eyes and said, There's always someone better than you. In the outside world, there are many types of martial artists' talent. I know that. The village, the wild bear tribe, and the tribe of tiger hunters have tested our talents since we were young. Sister Shiwei and brother Chunfeng are both at the peak of the king grade. I'm also at the king grade, Shangguan Xiu said excitedly. Su-yi secretly clicked his tongue. He didn't know how to respond. Any random guy here seemed to be at the king grade. That's too terrifying. It should be known that there weren't many king-grade geniuses in places like the One Mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 groups. I've heard that royal-grade geniuses might be very strong, then, Sui said. There was a hint of emotion in his eyes. Lu Ruashi was a royal-grade genius and the saintess of the sacred mountain. What about you, Brother Isu? What kind of talent do you have? Are you also at the royal grade? Shangguan Yu asked. They all knew that Sui was only at the second level of the Yuan Profound Realm, but he could already trample on Hu Mo and Hu Yu, who were both at the peak of the 4th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. With such strength, his talent must be terrifying. Sui was speechless and smiled bitterly. When he was tested by the sacred mountain, his talent was only at the level of a servant. My talent is average. Sui shook his head, but his eyes were still firm. So what if he had the talent of a servant? At least until now, his perseverance and choice had been right. Those so-called king-grade geniuses were only SOSO. It can't be. Brother Isu, you're not joking, right? Hearing this, everyone couldn't believe it. How could such a terrifying guy have an average talent? Roar! Suddenly, a loud beast roar came from the depths of the mountain range ahead. It was like a sudden clap of thunder that shook the mountains. A woo-wallala rumble. When the shocking beast roar spread, the mountains in the depths of the mountain range shook. Countless savage beasts roared, ferocious birds soared into the sky, and ferocious beasts ran amok. In an instant it was as if there was an earthquake and the mountain rocks rolled. Towering trees were knocked down by the stampeding beasts, and a large part of the mountain range shook. Swoosh, swoosh, Sui, Shangguan Shiwei, and the others immediately stood up when they heard the commotion. Their gazes swished in the direction of the commotion. Everyone's expression changed. They didn't know what was going on. Why did such a terrifying commotion suddenly come from that direction? There's a savage beast whose oil lamp is about to run out. It's about to die. Su Diang's small eyes flickered as he looked in that direction. How did you know? Sui asked in surprise. I just know that when a savage beast's oil lamp is about to run out, it will find a place to bury itself. It will drive away the surrounding savage beast. That savage beast should be at the edge of the demon illusionary realm, but it has no strength to go any further. It can only wait until its oil lamp is about to run out and die of old age. Su Tianke said. When he felt the commotion, these thoughts appeared in his mind. Demon illusionary realm? It has a demon core, right? Hearing this, Sui raised his eyebrows. Savage beasts at the demon illusionary realm all had demon cores in their bodies. Demon cores were precious treasures. When Sui and that woman went to find the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon, they wanted to obtain the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon's demon core. Demon core, everyone at the scene was moved. A demonic core was definitely a precious treasure. Even if it was a newly formed demon core, it was condensed from the lifetime energy of a savage beast at the demon illusionary realm. It could be refined into high-grade pills. Chapter 221. Shangguan Shiwei's eyes were filled with excitement. The demonic core was not an ordinary item. If they could get it, this trip would be worth it. Brother Isu, what do you think? Shangguan Yu asked Sui. Everyone knew that Sui was the most powerful person in the group and had subconsciously treated him as the core of the group. The others were also looking at Sui. Their hearts were filled with excitement, nervousness, and anticipation. Their eyes were red and they could not calm down. Are you sure that a demonic illusionary realm savage beast is dying of old age? Sui lowered his head and looked at Su Tianke seriously. It shouldn't be wrong. That demonic illusionary realm savage beast is about to die of old age. It's releasing its last bit of power. Su Tianke said seriously. Sui raised his head and looked in the direction of the commotion. He hesitated and asked Shangguan Shiwei, "What do you think?" The demonic core is a precious treasure. If there's a chance, we should fight for it. Shangguan Shiwei nodded. The demonic core made her unable to calm down. Hearing this, Su Yi nodded. He looked at Shangguan Rock and the others and said, "Let's be careful. We can't be careless." Understood. A hot-blooded young man rubbed his palms. If they could really get the demonic core, they would be rich. Then, the group flew out and started to climb up the mountain. Awoo! The mountains shook as if thousands of beasts were rioting. The mountains shook and the towering trees broke. It was a terrifying scene. Screech, in the night sky, a dense group of ferocious birds spread their wings and covered the sky. They emitted light and sharp screeches. 4 hours later, the group encountered a small group of barbaric beasts that had spread out. Fortunately, the barbaric beasts in the periphery were not of a high cultivation level. The savage beasts were shocked and retreated. Their bodies were trembling and their eyes were filled with fear. They did not care about Su Yi and the others, and only cared about escaping. The commotion seemed to be right in front of them, but it was actually very far away. One mountain top after another. The forest was lush, and the thick ancient trees were like giant umbrellas in this ancient forest. The treetops reached into the sky. Everyone exerted their origin chi and traversed through the mountains, exhausting quite a bit of their origin chi. Panting heavily, they finally approached the source of the commotion. Awoo! In the vicinity, the barbaric beasts that were galloping in all directions were much stronger. They were larger in size and there were more of them as well. However, at this moment these barbaric beasts were also trembling. Their ferocious eyes were filled with fear, and they did not dare to approach. They slowly retreated, but they also did not dare to approach. Seeing that there were humans approaching, the eyes of the barbaric beasts glowed and they stared at them ferociously. Boom! Su Yi circulated the Origin Supreme technique, and a domineering aura instantly spread out. Su Yi stared at the beasts in the distance that were about to make a move. Awoo! The barbaric beasts roared and prostrated themselves on the ground. They trembled in fear and didn't dare to come any closer. Seeing this change, Shangguan Shiwei and the others were secretly astonished and shocked. Su Yi continued to go deeper. He could feel that the earth-shattering roar was not far ahead. However, the deeper they went, the quieter it became. The atmosphere was suffocating for no reason. Why is it so quiet? Everyone felt that something was wrong. There was a riot outside, and many barbaric beasts were moving together. However, the closer they got to the source of the commotion, the quieter it became. This was very abnormal. That barbaric beast is about to die. It should have intimidated everyone. No other barbaric beast dares to come here, Su Tianke said. Everyone continued to walk. The scene in front of them was a mess. Rocks were shattered, and towering trees were broken. Look, suddenly, Shangguan Rock spoke and looked ahead. Under a waterfall a few hundred feet away, the rumbling sound of water could be heard, and water droplets splashed everywhere. Under the moonlight, a huge creature was lying on the ground. From afar, it looked like a small mountain in front of the waterfall. That is, everyone immediately looked over. Under the waterfall, a beast's body was lying on the ground. It was at least 4 to 5 feet tall. Its body was covered in dense scales, and there was no fluctuation of vitality. It was like an oil lamp that had run out of energy. However, the lingering aura still caused the surrounding air to tense up. Demon illusionary stage, everyone was excited. That was a demon illusionary stage barbaric beast. Now that it was dead, a demonic core was within their reach. It looks like an iron rhinoceros. I know this barbaric beast. I've heard of it before. Winky face, Shangguan Shiwei's expression darkened. She recognized the barbaric beast in the distance and said with shock, "The iron rhinoceros's bloodline level is not high. It is almost impossible for it to break through to the demon illusionary stage. However, this iron rhinoceros is very special in Demon Azura Mountain. It is recorded in the Spirit Ancient Village's records that this iron rhinoceros has lived for a long time. It is rumored that it obtained a treasure and consumed it. That is how it reached the demon illusionary stage. Iron rhinoceros. Sui also knew about this barbaric beast. Although its bloodline level was not high, its combat power was not bad and it was very strong. Unfortunately, this iron rhinoceros had obtained an opportunity to reach the demon illusionary stage. However, its bloodline level was not high. If it could not advance further, there would be a limit. When that day came, the oil lamp would dry up. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If you don't become a true expert, everything will be in vain. Sui was touched. Cultivators had a much longer lifespan than ordinary people, but if one did not become a truly powerful cultivator, everything would be for naught. Lifespan aside, martial prowess was the most important thing. Only a truly powerful cultivator would be able to control everything. The demonic core is in its body. Everyone was overjoyed. This was indeed a demon illusionary stage barbaric beast. There would be a demonic core in its body. Something is wrong, suddenly, Su Yi's eyes moved. With his sharp and powerful soul power and vigilance, he felt something was wrong. It was as if something was spying on him from the dark. There was a sense of danger. Retreat. Hurry. Without hesitation, Su Yi shouted anxiously and immediately retreated. What's going on? Although Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Yu, and the others were surprised, they quickly followed Su Yi and retreated. An iron rhinoceros died of old age with a demonic core in its body. I'm afraid it will attract the attention of the surrounding barbaric beasts. They won't let it go, Sui said as he thought of something. There were many barbaric beasts in the demon Azura mountain. Naturally, there were many barbaric beasts among them. The demonic core was a treasure. To other barbaric beasts it was also a treasure. Now that the iron rhinoceros had died of old age, the nearby barbaric beasts would not let it go. Hearing this, everyone was still doubtful and retreated quickly. Everyone retreated for a few hundred feet before stopping. They stood on a high ground and looked at the waterfall in front of them. Guji, almost at the same time, a screech came from the sky. A fierce wind blew from the top of the waterfall. A ferocious bird with a wingspan of 10 meters swooped down and grabbed the iron rhinoceros on the ground. Awoo! Chapter 222. Seeing this, the ferocious bird's expression turned serious. It flapped its wings and dodged the attacks of the 4 barbaric beasts. The ferocious bird dodged and flapped its wings. The 4 barbaric beasts started fighting with each other in an instant. A whoa rumble, the roars of the beasts were like thunder. A demonic wolf, a demonic lizard, a ferocious beast that looked like a tiger and a bear, and a giant ape started fighting. In the air, the ferocious bird did not want to be outdone. It flapped its wings and dove down to join the fight. It wanted to seize the opportunity to snatch the iron-armored rhinoceros corpse. However, every time a barbaric beast got close to the iron-armored rhinoceros corpse, it would be attacked by all the other barbaric beasts. No one could succeed. Roar! The giant ape roared and pounded its chest. It looked around angrily. Its aura was terrifying. Awooh! The demonic wolf howled at the moon. Its fangs were gleaming. The ferocious beast that looked like a tiger and a bear had immense strength. It was filled with a murderous aura. The demonic lizard was fast. Its scales were thick and dense. Its body emitted a scorching aura that spread in all directions. Roar! The giant ape roared and rushed forward. It wanted to snatch the iron-armored rhinoceros corpse and obtain its demonic core. Its huge palm shone like a star in the night sky. Its aura was ferocious and terrifying. A beam of light shot out from the giant ape's palm and hit the demonic lizard in front of it. Why, the demonic lizard opened its mouth. A bright light shot out from its mouth and blocked the beam of light. Whoosh! In the air, the ferocious bird dove down. It wanted to take the opportunity to get close to the iron-armored rhinoceros corpse. Boom! The ferocious beast that looked like a tiger and a bear leaped into the air. It swung its claws at the ferocious bird. The ferocious bird was shocked. It did not dare to be careless. It quickly flapped its wings and swung its sharp claws to resist the attack. When the two claws collided, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Such an intense battle broke out in an instant. The ferocious aura swept out in all directions. The nearby barbaric beasts did not dare to get close. These barbaric beasts are the strongest beasts in this area. Shangguan Shiwei opened her mouth and her face turned pale. She didn't expect so many powerful barbaric beasts to appear out of nowhere. If they were to get close to the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros corpse, they would have immediately become the target of these powerful barbaric beasts. Gu Gu, Shangguan Rock and the others were still in a state of shock. They sucked in a breath of cold air as they looked at the barbaric demonic beast. If he had been just a little bit closer, he might not have been able to dodge it. These savage beasts have yet to reach the demon illusionary realm. They are all at LV9 of the demon truth realm. That ape seems to have been at the peak of LV9 of the demon truth realm for a long time. No matter who gets the demon pill of the iron-plated demonic rhinoceros, it will increase their chances of breaking through to the demon illusionary realm. None of them will give up, Su Tianke said as he looked at the fierce battle in front of him. He clicked his tongue and was glad that he had escaped quickly. Su Yi rolled his eyes at Su Tianke. This guy is definitely not a peacock. Why would a real peacock be afraid of these demon truth realm barbaric beasts to such an extent? At this moment, Su Yi's heart sank. There were several demon truth realm barbaric beasts at LV9 of the demon truth realm. They were all fighting for the demon pill of the iron-plated demonic rhinoceros. It was impossible for him to stand a chance. Even if there was only one LV9 demon truth realm barbaric beast, Su Yi estimated that he wouldn't stand a chance even if he gave it his all and summoned all the fiery-eyed barbaric tigers from the mysterious space. Seeing a demon pill right in front of him but not being able to get it, Su Yi didn't feel good. Bang bang bang, in a short period of time, the fierce battle in front of them had reached its climax. The monster lizard was attacked by the big ape's tiger and bear beast at the same time. It let out a loud roar and screamed miserably. Its tail was torn off, and blood splashed everywhere. It was very miserable. Swish, the demonic wolf took the opportunity to attack. Its claws were like hooks and landed directly on the demon lizard's back, tearing a huge hole in its tough, scaly back. Blood spurted out from the wound. However, the wound wasn't too deep. At least, the demon lizard's bones weren't visible. It was enough to show how strong the demon lizard's body was. The demon lizard cried out in pain. Its eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger. However, it immediately turned around and fled. It was already severely injured and couldn't get the demon pill. It was better to stay alive. It had been competing with these barbaric beasts for a long time. If it didn't escape now, these barbaric beasts would kick it when it was down. By then, it would be doomed. Seeing the demon lizard leave with serious injuries, the remaining barbaric beasts didn't chase after it. Their goal was only the demon pill of the iron-plated demonic rhinoceros. They all wanted to step into the demon illusionary realm after obtaining it. By then, they would be the kings of this area. The fierce battle was still going on. Mountains collapsed and the ground cracked. Rocks and sand flew everywhere. The roars of the beasts were like thunder. Whoosh! Finally, the ferocious bird in the sky found an opportunity. It extended its sharp claws with lightning speed and grabbed the ferocious beast that resembled a tiger or a bear like an arrow. The ferocious beast's skin was thick and its body was covered in light. However, the ferocious bird's claws still pierced through its skin. Blood dripped and white bones were exposed. Roar! The wolf howled incessantly. At the same time, the demon wolf was injured by the ape. One of its legs was almost torn off. Its gigantic body was lifted up by the ape and slammed into a boulder in front of the waterfall. The boulder was shattered and rumbling sounds reverberated endlessly. The wolf was actually killed directly. Roar! The tiger and bear beast roared in anger. Its back was covered in blood and white bones were exposed. Rays of light shot out from its mouth like sharp blades, rushing towards the ferocious bird. The ferocious bird wasn't afraid. It spread its wings and dodged. However, the sharp blades of light were as fast as lightning. It couldn't dodge all of them. Many of the feathers on its body fell off. Woo woo! The ape rushed out. It suddenly jumped up from the giant rock and rushed up. At the same time, its giant palm stretched out like an arrow and grabbed the ferocious bird's claws tightly. Coo coo! The ferocious bird screeched. Its eyes were filled with fear. It spread its wings and wanted to rush up into the sky. However, it was too late. The ape was already prepared. It had succeeded. A terrifying aura burst out and directly pulled the ferocious bird down. It threw the ferocious bird from a low altitude to the top of the waterfall. Rumble! The earth shook and the mountains shook. The waterfall surged. It was as if the mountain collapsed and the earth cracked. Along with the miserable shriek of the ferocious bird, as the mountain rocks rolled down, water droplets poured down from the sky. The ferocious bird's body cracked, and all the bones in its body emitted cracking sound. Its feathers fluttered in the air as it was buried under the collapsed rocks. Chapter 223. The great ape had no intention of letting the beast that resembled a tiger or a bear go. It stared at the beast with its ferocious eyes and raised its huge palm to slap it. Roar! The beast roared and leaped forward. It didn't want to miss the chance to fight for the iron-plated rhino's corpse. Woo woo! As the light shone, the great ape roared. Light suddenly erupted from its palms, and its might skyrocketed. This seemed to be one of its own ultimate moves. It wanted to end this battle quickly and eliminate its opponent. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as the ape's palm landed on the tiger-bear-like beast, shattering its head. It didn't even have time to cry out before it fell to the ground. So strong. In the distance, Shangguan Yen and the rest of the Spirit Ancient Village's younger generation watched the bloody battle unfold. Their hair stood on end and a chill ran down their spines. They're fighting for the iron-plated rhino's monster core. Su-yi looked forward and heard the beast language clearly from the bloody battle. Those few savage beasts were here for the monster core of the iron-plated rhino. At this moment, only the giant ape was left among the group of powerful brute beasts. That's the barbaric peak ape. It's going to get the monster core, Shangguan Shiwei said. Her eyes were filled with shock. If nothing went wrong, the monster core of the iron-plated rhino would fall into the barbaric peak ape's hands. Although they wanted the monster core, they knew that they were no match for it. It'll be great if we can get the monster core. Su Diang's eyes lit up. Why don't you lure the ape away and I'll go get the monster core? Sui looked at Su Tianke and said, Why don't you go? Su Tianke rolled his eyes at Su-yi. Asking Su-yi to lure the barbaric peak ape away was asking for trouble. At this moment, the ape walked towards the iron-plated rhino's corpse. It thumped its chest and roared with joy. With the monster core, it would be able to advance further. The big ape walked over to the iron plate rhino's corpse, and was just about to reach out and dig out the demon core when... Boom! Roar! Suddenly, an unforeseen event occurred. A powerful aura exploded out from the body of the dead iron-plated rhinoceros. The corpse glowed brightly and began to move. Chi-la! A sharp horn pierced through the ape's chest like a lightning spear, erupting with a terrifying aura that shook the forest. At the last moment, the great ape had already sensed the danger. Its eyes were filled with shock and its pupils constricted. However, it was already too late. Woo-woo! With a final roar filled with unwillingness and anger, the large ape's body fell powerlessly to the ground. Roar! With a thunderous roar, the corpse of the iron-armored rhinoceros suddenly came to life. The huge corpse stood up like a small mountain, like an ox or a leopard, with a ferocious appearance. There was a single horn on its forehead that was at least 6 meters long, shining with a cold light. It was this horn that had just killed the ape. The iron rhinoceros isn't dead. What's going on? Not dead. The iron rhinoceros is not dead. This scene caused Shangguan Yen and the others who had been watching from afar to be flabbergasted and inexplicably shocked. Everyone thought that the ape was about to obtain the monster core. Who would have thought that the iron-armored rhinoceros would come to life at the last moment and even kill the powerful barbaric peak ape? Didn't you say that the iron-armored rhinoceros was dead? Su-yi looked at the iron-armored rhinoceros that had come to life and asked Su Tianke with a shocked expression. It's faking its death to lure out its opponents. That's why it's faking its death, so that it can kill all of its opponents in one fell swoop. It doesn't want its monster core to fall into the hands of the barbaric peak beasts. Su Tianke was also surprised. He didn't expect the iron-armored rhinoceros to fake its death. So now, is the iron-armored rhinoceros dead or not? Su-yi gasped. The iron-armored rhinoceros was too evil. It faked its death to lure all of its opponents in one fell swoop. It's probably its last breath, Su Tianke said. Su Tianke said, but before he could finish, the look in his small eyes suddenly changed. He said, "This is bad. This guy has discovered us. A few puny humans actually dare to target us. You're courting death." The iron-armored rhinoceros spoke in human language. Its ferocious eyes stared in the direction of Su-yi and the others. Its huge body glowed in the night and directly charged towards them. Wherever the iron-armored rhinoceros's huge body passed, the ground shook violently. "Oh no, run!" Su-yi shouted anxiously. Whether the iron-armored rhinoceros was really dying or not, at least for now, they were still no match for it. "Run, run quickly!" Shangguan Shiwei was stunned for a moment, then she also shouted. "We're in trouble now." Shangguan Rock and the rest of the younger generation of the Spirit Ancient Village came to their senses. Their faces were filled with fear as they fled. This iron-armored rhinoceros is too cunning. It actually faked its death. Su Tianke cursed, but his legs were very fast. With his tail between his legs and his short wings flapping, he immediately fled. Su-yi was also fleeing, not daring to stay any longer. With everyone's cultivation and strength, they definitely couldn't afford to offend this iron-armored rhinoceros. "Puny humans, you can't escape." The iron-armored rhinoceros's body was huge, but its speed was also extremely shocking. Although the iron-armored rhinoceros at the demon illusionary realm was already at its last breath, it was still not something that Su-yi and the other profound origin realm cultivators could compare with. Especially when Shangguan Xiu and the others' cultivation and strength were still too weak. Boom! The earth shook, the mountains shook, and the towering trees swayed. The huge iron-armored rhinoceros caught up in an instant. The group had no way to escape. "You guys, run, run!" Chapter G. On the stage. Everything was under the surveillance of Su-yi. He was running at the front, but he suddenly stopped and let the rest of the Spirit Ancient Village behind him escape first. "What are you going to do? Run!" Shangguan Shiwei also stopped, and her delicate face changed. "Listen to me, I have a way to block it for a while. You take everyone and run." There was no time to delay. Su-yi was very clear that the people from the Spirit Ancient Village were no match for the rhinoceros. Since he couldn't escape either, he might as well think of a way to block it for a while and give the people from the Spirit Ancient Village a chance to escape. "You must pay attention to your safety." Knowing that there was no time to delay, Shangguan Shiwei bit her red lips and waved her hand, leading everyone to follow. "Everyone, run!" Su-yi lightly shouted. his gaze fixed on the iron-armored rhinoceros that was roaring furiously as it charged towards them. "Brother Isu, you must pay attention to your safety." Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and the others knew that they wouldn't be of any help even if they stayed. They hoped that Isu really had a way to escape. "Run!" Su Tianke flapped his short wings and fled as fast as lightning. However, his comical appearance made people want to laugh no matter how they looked at it. Elo, the iron-armored rhinoceros, was already charging towards them. The scales on its body were like sharp iron armor, and its aura was ferocious. Its 4 hooves were like stone pillars, and its fierce eyes emitted a cold light. Boom! Chapter 224. When this vast and majestic aura swept out from Su Yi's body, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros that was galloping like a small mountain stopped abruptly. Its footsteps slid across the ground for a few feet, and its fierce gaze was instantly replaced by shock. Su Yi stood upright. His thin body was like a mountain. His robe and hair fluttered in the wind, and there was a faint scarlet fluctuation in his eyes. The iron-armored demonic rhinoceros stared at Su Yi. Its astonished gaze was filled with doubt. It stared at Su Yi carefully as if it was prying for something. "No, you're a human. You might have treasures that are related to the demon clan, or your cultivation technique might be related to the demon clan." The iron-armored demonic rhinoceros stared at Su Yi and carefully sensed the aura on Su Yi's body. It judged that Su Yi's aura was not of the demon clan but of a human. Perhaps he had some treasures that were related to the demon clan. Su Yi was shocked. He had been worried that the aura of the Origin Supreme technique would not be able to intimidate those powerful savage demonic beasts. It seemed that it was true. With his cultivation at the 2nd level of the profound Origin realm, how could he intimidate those demon illusionary realm and demon monarch realm experts? "I feel that you have a secret. Perhaps if I eat you, I can prolong my life." The astonishment in the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros's eyes was immediately replaced by surprise. Its eyes were filled with anticipation as the scarlet-red light surged. "Not good." Su Yi's expression changed. He originally thought that he could intimidate the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros with the Origin Supreme technique and buy time for everyone before retreating. However, Su Yi did not expect that the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros would not be intimidated. Instead, it had its eyes on him. "Run!" Without hesitation, Su Yi turned around and fled. Su Yi did not intend to make a move against a demonic illusionary realm brute beast expert, even if it was a demonic illusionary realm brute beast expert who was on the verge of death. He knew that it would be futile and useless. Chi. Su Yi's speed was fast. Under the Azura's 100 transformation steps, he left behind a series of afterimages. Aolo, however, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros was even faster. Its huge body dashed forward, and its huge hoof blocked in front of Su Yi like an iron wall. As Su Yi turned around, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros's hind legs were already sweeping towards him. Swish! There was no time to dodge. Su Yi drew the Yuanqi weapon saber on his back. Essence surged in his meridians and gathered in the saber. The second move of the 3 Berserk Dragon Sabers, Berserk Dragon Tornado Chop, was the Berserk Dragon Tornado Chop. Swish! The swift and fierce saber light rotated, carrying a light like an arc of electricity, like a crescent moon, as it streaked across the belly of the rhinoceros. The faint light shadow was like the shadow of a dragon that flashed and disappeared. Boom! This blade contained a terrifying pressure. It was fierce and violent, and sand and pebbles flew in all directions like a dancing dragon. Clang, clang, clang. In an instant, the blade light and the iron-armored rhino's giant hooves collided, causing sparks to fly and a strong wind to shoot out in all directions, causing the surrounding ground to crack. Pucci, in a short contact, Su Yi was directly sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth, and the blood in his body was in turmoil. He fiercely smashed into the ground. Under the blade light, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros's giant hooves only left a shallow mark on the ground. Immediately, it recovered to its original state without any damage. Boom! Sui wanted to get up and quickly escape, but it was too late. A giant hoof directly stomped down, as if 100,000 mountains were falling. Puff, the Yuanqi weapon in Su Yi's hand, had already fallen somewhere. His body was heavily pressed down, and he was powerless to struggle. Another mouthful of blood spurted out. Aolo, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros roared, shaking the surroundings like thunder in the night. Then, its giant hooves flipped, and directly swallowed Su Yi into its mouth. No longer chasing after Shangguan Shiwei and the others, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros turned and left. Not good, Brother Yi-Su was swallowed by the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. Brother Yi-Su, Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, and the others ran as fast as they could. From afar, they just happened to see Su Yi being swallowed by the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. They immediately cried out in alarm, and their bodies trembled. I want to save Brother Yi-Su. Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yi, and Shangguan Yu suddenly stopped in their tracks. They unsheathed their swords and turned around to chase after the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. They had already forgotten that they were no match for the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. None of you are a match for the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. Quickly retreat, I'll go save him. Shangguan Shiwei's beautiful face turned pale, and her expression changed greatly. She clenched her twin blades tightly and shouted at Shangguan Rock and the others to run first. She was about to chase after the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. Su Tianke also stopped. He turned around and looked at the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros that swallowed Su Yi. His small eyes flickered and then emitted a red light. Evil beast, I'll kill you! Su Tianke's short wings flapped, and his small eyes emitted a red light. His short legs were extremely fast, and his speed suddenly increased. He chased after the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. His speed far surpassed Shangguan Shiwei and the others. Shangguan Shiwei was stunned when she saw Su Tianke chasing after Su Yi, but she quickly followed after him. However, it didn't take long for the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros and Su Tianke to disappear. Shangguan Shiwei's expression was dignified. She stood at a fork in the road. Her face was pale, and her eyes were moist. Her pearly white teeth were biting her red lips, and there was a trace of dark red blood flowing out. Su Yi's surroundings were pitch black. Everything was swaying, and his breathing was weak. It was difficult for him to summon his strength. There was a thick layer of mucus around him, and it surged towards Su Yi like a tide. The mucus emitted a faint green light, and it seemed to have a corrosive power that could corrode clothes. More importantly, this mucus could also corrode vitality. This is the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros's stomach. Su Yi's heart trembled. He knew that he had been swallowed by the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. Fast P on *L. Fortunately, the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros wasn't a wild beast that would chew and swallow its food. Otherwise, he would have been turned into minced meat. However, at this moment, Su Yi was at a loss for what to do with the glowing mucus. The mucus surged and wrapped around him, corroding everything. Su Yi could clearly feel that the last bit of vitality in his body was being corroded at an extremely fast speed. Once his vitality was completely corroded, he would be in deep trouble. Su Yi struggled and released his last bit of vitality. However, Su Yi was helpless in this mucus. The mucus was like a superglue, binding everything, and Su Yi couldn't move. No, I can't die yet. Su Yi struggled. He didn't want to die yet, so he used all his strength. However, at this moment, everything seemed to be restricted. Although Su Yi could use his vitality, it was suppressed. The soul power in his mind seemed to be affected by the mucus, and Su Yi couldn't gather it. Therefore, He couldn't use the skills of a soul controller. Chapter 225. The viscous liquid glowed with an eerie green light that was slowly corroding everything. Am I really going to die this time? Many times, Sui had faced life-threatening situations. Many times, he even had one foot in the jaws of death. However, he never gave up and was always able to turn the situation around. This time, Sui had a feeling of helplessness. Was he going to be buried in the belly of this iron-armored demonic rhino? Little bastard, you're courting death. Sui heard a clear and loud shout. That voice was all too familiar. Roar. Bang bang bang. Roars and muffled sounds of energy were heard continuously. Su Tianke. Sui was stunned. That was Su Diank's voice. Su Tianke had caught up with him. Outside, there was a constant tremor. It was as if the mountains were collapsing and the earth was cracking. The roars were earth-shattering, as if there was a fierce battle going on. Wrapped in the viscous liquid, Sui was like a piece of driftwood in a stormy sea. He was dizzy from the impact. You're courting death. The iron-armored rhinoceros's furious roar was deafening. Even Sui, who was wrapped in the viscous liquid, felt a stinging pain in his eardrums. Su Tianke seems to be at a disadvantage. Listening to the commotion outside, Sui felt that Su Tianke was no match for the iron-armored rhinoceros. No, I don't want to die yet. I have to help Su Tianke. Sui's eyes glowed. He had never given up. Broken sword. At this moment, the Yuan weapon had fallen. The only thing he could use was the broken sword. Wrapped in the viscous liquid, Sui raised his hand with great difficulty and held the broken sword tightly in his hand. At this moment, Sui's primordial qi was running low due to the corrosion of the viscous liquid. His clothes were also corroding. Swish, waving his hand with great difficulty, Sui wanted to pierce through the viscous liquid with the broken sword. The viscous liquid was too strong. It seemed to have sensed Sui's movement. As if it had a mind of its own, the viscous liquid continuously wrapped around Sui's arms and the broken sword, binding them tightly. Latest P chapter upper X, Z, no matter how Sui struggled, it was useless. The bindings became tighter and tighter. At the same time, it corroded everything and devoured his primordial qi. I'm going to die. Sui's heart. He's primordial chaos, supreme origin. The primordial qi in his Dantian's primordial qi whirlpool, the primordial chaos. The primordial qi in his primordial qi whirlpool. Calm! Suddenly, at this moment, for some unknown reason, the 1,000 broken sword suddenly flashed with light. The light was resplendent, and a monstrous sword qi instantly gushed out. Suddenly, from the broken sword, a surge of power spread into Sui's body, causing the already dispirited Sui to instantly recover to his peak. This surge of power was unprecedented. At the same time, Sui's vision blurred as he felt a monstrous killing intent rushing towards him along with the surging power. It was as if he saw a scene of blood flowing like a river and bones piling up in front of him. This killing intent was too terrifying. It was as if it wanted to destroy everything. Even with Sui's current physical strength, under the impact of this killing intent, his body trembled. It was as if he was about to be crushed under the sweeping killing intent. Puff, Sui couldn't help but spit out blood. He couldn't bear it at all. At this time, the mysterious space that Sui couldn't activate just now emitted a light in his mind. A vast and majestic aura swept out and the killing intent dissipated. Buzz buzz. The killing intent disappeared. The sword light was still as sonorous as the wind and thunder. That terrifying aura was like a monstrous beast awakening. Swish, the sword aura was monstrous and the sword light was dazzling. It was as if a sun was rising in the mucus. The terrifying sword light exploded, and the surrounding mucus crumbled inch by inch like tofu. Aolo, at this moment, the iron rhinoceros let out a violent roar outside. Its eyes were filled with shock. Su-yi was stunned. He didn't expect that the 1,000-pound broken sword, which had been silent all this time, would suddenly erupt with such a terrifying sound. But it was only for a moment. Su-yi didn't hesitate. He held the broken sword tightly and slashed out like a dragon. Swish, wherever the sword light passed, the iron rhinoceros's body was directly cut open. Everything turned into a bloody mist, and a passage appeared in the bloody mess. A deep but glowing ball of light, which was the size of a fist, rotated in the bloody mist in front of him. The demon pill of the iron rhinoceros. Su-yi's eyes moved. It was the demon pill of the iron rhinoceros. Not good. Suddenly, Su-yi's expression changed. Before the sword light dissipated, it was extremely fierce and directly cut the demon pill into pieces. At the same time, the body of the iron rhinoceros was directly shattered from the inside out. Bang, bang, bang! The sword light rushed out from the inside out, accompanied by a bloody mist. Under the night sky, the bloody light bloomed like firework. Aolo, such a mournful roar finally resounded in the darkness before dawn. A ball of surging flames filled the air, like a fiery sun. The surging flames whistled, like a boiling sea of fire, covering the sky and covering the earth, as if they wanted to cover the entire world. After Su-yi destroyed the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, the first thing he saw was a small figure within the astonishing fireball. His entire body was wrapped in magma-like flames. The figure was the size of a rooster, with a long neck and a sharp mouth. There seemed to be a golden meatball on the top of his head like a coxcomb. A pair of short legs with 5 claws spread out, and a pair of short wings with a layer of fluffy red feathers. At this moment, the pair of small eyes seemed to contain a blazing sea of fire. Who else could it be but Su Tianke? What a pity, what a pity! This is the demon pill. You actually destroyed it. Su Tianke was not happy to see Su-yi. He did not even look at Su-yi, but at the shattered demon pill of the iron rhinoceros. The fist-sized demon core was shattered into pieces, turning into a black liquid that floated in the air at the height of half a man. The liquid did not disperse, but it was shining and there was a mist of energy rising. The flames around Su Tianke disappeared. He rushed over and opened his mouth to swallow the shattered demon pill. Demon pill. Precious treasure. Su-yi's eyes flickered, and he instinctively dashed out. He was already closer to Su Tianke, and when he saw Su Tianke opening his mouth to swallow the energy, he couldn't let this glutton take it all for himself. He opened his mouth and swallowed it. Walala! The liquid formed from the shattered Yao core was instantly devoured by the man and the beast as they fought for it. The liquid was then sucked into their mouth. Su-yi had only absorbed a third of the broken Yao cores. Su Tianke had taken advantage of the situation and absorbed most of it. However, when the liquid entered his body, there was no reaction at first. It only tasted a little bitter and fishy. However, a few seconds later, the demonic core liquid turned into a surge of energy in Su-yi's body and directly rushed out. This surge of energy was too violent. It was many times more powerful than when Su-yi swallowed the spiritual liquid in the mysterious space. The impact made his internal organs, bones, and muscles feel like they were about to be torn apart. The pain was unbearable. Quickly refine the energy of the demon pill. Chapter 226. Ah! Su-yi screamed in agony. The broken demon core turned into a surge of energy, as if it was about to explode his body. If it weren't for Su-yi's strong body, his body would have exploded. The energy contained in the liquid monster core was insane. It was much more terrifying than any of the elixirs and treasures that Su-yi had taken before. This abnormal amount of energy was too surging. It made Su-yi's meridians, muscles, and internal organs feel like they were being torn apart. The excruciating pain was unbearable. Upon hearing Su Tiang's shout, Su Yi immediately sat down cross-legged and activated the Origin Supreme technique to refine the insane energy from the monster core in his body. Rumble, a surge of energy rushed through Su Yi's body, like countless ferocious beasts galloping. Walala, as Su Yi activated the Origin Supreme technique, he began to absorb and refine the surging energy. Under the activation of Su Yi's Origin Supreme technique, the surging energy flowed through his meridians and began to transform into pure vitality. Although he had already begun to refine the insane energy, the speed of refinement was far from enough to offset the impact of the energy on Su Yi. Su Yi's entire body trembled, and his face twitched to the point of malevolence. Dense beads of cold sweat dripped from his forehead. The excruciating pain caused by the terrifying energy in his body was unbearable for ordinary people. Fortunately, Su Yi was no ordinary person. He gritted his teeth and resisted the pain forcefully. The constant twitching pain in his body made Su Yi suffer unspeakably. He didn't expect the liquid of the broken Yao Dan to be so terrifying. However, there was no other way. Su Yi could only try his best to refine it. Otherwise, the surging energy would cause his body to explode sooner or later. This is the energy of the monster core. It's a precious treasure. Since I've absorbed it, I'll refine it. Su Yi gritted his teeth. Although the energy of the monster core was terrifying, he would benefit greatly if he refined it. He had even killed the iron-armored rhinoceros. Could it be that he couldn't refine some of the demonic core's energy? Since he had already consumed the energy of the monster core, Su Yi didn't think too much about it. Besides clenching his teeth and persevering, there was nothing else he could do. Thus, Su Yi's mind gradually calmed down as he endured the excruciating pain in his body. He sat down cross-legged and began to refine the monster core energy in his body. In any case, there was no other way. Su Yi simply calmed his heart, gritted his teeth, and endured the pain of the energy impact. He began to comprehend and cultivate in his mind. Along the way, all sorts of tempering, dangerous situations, tempering, and experiences were replaying in Su Yi's mind as he began to comprehend them. Gradually, Su Yi sank into a strange state of comprehension. At this moment, if there were any experts present, they would be shocked to see Su Yi in such a state. Generally speaking, without reaching the level of Yuan Zhen realm, it was simply difficult for martial artists to enter such a state of comprehension. Even martial artists, who were sole controllers, would find it difficult to enter. Comprehension, cultivation. Su Yi's cultivation was at the Yuan Zhen realm, but at this moment, he had entered such a state of comprehension. It was unbelievable. In fact, this had something to do with Su Yi's talent. At the same time, it was also because Su Yi came with his past life. In addition, all this time, Su Yi's heart was wholeheartedly focused on cultivation. He was able to put down everything for cultivation, and only wanted to become a strong expert. To a certain extent, Su Yi was also a person with great perseverance when it came to cultivation. Therefore, Su Yi was able to enter the state of comprehension when he was only at the Yuan Zhen realm. Entering the state of comprehension had endless benefits for cultivation. On the mountain top, the young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village stood together. Everyone's face was filled with grief. They had gone back to search for a day and a night, but they still couldn't find any trace of the iron-armored demon rhinoceros. Brother Isu, for our sake, even though he knew he was no match for the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, he still stopped it. We owe him 2 lives. Shangguan Rock's eyes were wet with grief. We all owe Isu 2 lives. Shangguan Yu and Shangguan Yi were also very sad. They looked into the distance, their eyes were lifeless. The other young men and women didn't say anything. They were all very sad. As we go deeper into the mountains, there will be more and more powerful barbaric beasts. Let's go back first and ask the village's experts to come and find the iron-armored demon rhinoceros. Shangguan Shiwei's pearly white teeth were slightly opened, her red lips were slightly parted. Her eyes were moist, and her fair face looked very haggard. She knew in her heart that the village's experts had probably found the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, and everything was settled. In order to save everyone, he died in the mouth of the iron-armored demon rhinoceros. If we go back now, what about the meat of the barbaric beasts? Shangguan Xiu asked. She was also very sad. She had a good impression of Su Yi, and she asked Su Yi the most questions. However, everyone was here for the hunt, and they needed to bring back the barbaric beast's meat. They would need it during the festival. Let's go back to the place we were at yesterday. Those barbaric beasts killed each other, and there were many corpses left behind. With the strength of those barbaric beasts, they intimidated everyone yesterday. The low-level barbaric beasts shouldn't dare to come close for a while. We just need to bring back the corpses of those barbaric beasts. Shangguan Shiwei furrowed her brows. She looked into the distance, and her eyes became blurred. Brother Isu, we're sorry. We couldn't even find your corpse. Forgive us. When we go back to the village, we'll definitely ask the village's experts to come. At least we'll find your corpse and bury it. Shangguan Rock looked into the distance and said. His fists were clenched tightly, and his eyes were filled with guilt. Su Yi's eyes were closed. His body was enveloped in a dazzling light, and a deep, faint black light shone brightly. The light was clearly black, but it gave people a dazzling feeling. As time passed, the intense pain brought about by the surging energy in Su Yi's body gradually subsided. However, this kind of reduction didn't have much of an effect on Su Yi. That was because the energy from the beast core was too surging. Within the Yuan Qi vortex in his dantian, strands of pure Yuan Qi poured in. They were all refined by the energy from the beast core. Strands of pure Yuan Qi gathered in the Yuan Qi vortex in his dantian, causing the aura on Su Yi's body to rise continuously. It reached a stage where it was full and expanding. Rumble, as the Yuan Qi vortex in Su Yi's dantian became more and more abundant, the speed of the Yuan Qi in his dantian became faster and faster. It was like a storm, and it let out a low rumbling sound like wind and thunder. As the Yuan Qi continued to pour in, it became more and more abundant. In the end, the Yuan Qi vortex could no longer store any more. Bang! Chapter 227. Third level of the Yuan Profound Realm. Sensing the breakthrough, Su Yi suddenly opened his eyes. Although the surging energy in his body was still pounding against his body, causing him unbearable pain, Su Yi couldn't help but smile. Breaking through another level so quickly wasn't slow at all. It was also at this moment that Su Yi's expression suddenly changed again. The slight smile that had just formed immediately sank. Not good, Su Yi smiled bitterly. There was still a large amount of monster core energy in his body that had yet to be refined. However, following Su Yi's breakthrough, it seemed to have imperceptibly affected the surrounding energy of heaven and earth. As the surrounding energy of heaven and earth surged towards Su Yi, it drove the monster core energy in his body. Suddenly, an unforeseen event occurred. The sudden change shocked Su Yi, but it wasn't unfamiliar to him. Back when Su Yi swallowed the spiritual liquid in the mysterious space, he had also encountered such a situation. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth that had been imperceptibly pulled in, as well as the unrefined energy in Su Yi's body, directly rushed into his dantian qi si and compressed again in an instant. As a result, a strange scene occurred. When the monster core energy rushed over along with the energy of heaven and earth, it was quickly refined by the Origin Supreme technique. Then, it rushed into the dantian qi si like a flood. At this moment, everything seemed to be accelerating. The surging and abnormal monster core energy was quickly refined. Along with the invisible energy of heaven and earth, it turned into Yuan Qi and crazily rushed into Su Yi's Dantian Qi Si. It was incomparably ferocious. Everything was like a bomb that ignited the fuse. Su Yi's aura continued to soar. The Dantian Qi Si was like a hurricane that swept through. If anyone were to see this, they would be incomparably shocked. Bang! Not long after, a muffled sound came from Su Yi's Dantian Qi Si again. The Dantian Qi Si's Dantian Qi Si grew larger and larger. Violent Yuan Qi fluctuations and energy surged. It wasn't over yet. This astonishing scene continued and couldn't be stopped. Bang! Bang! Not long after, two more muffled sounds came from the vortex in his Dantian. Su Yi's aura had reached a new level. Everything was like a hot knife through butter, like a bolt of lightning, 6th-level essence soul realm. Su Yi was stunned. He could clearly feel that he was getting stronger again and again. The feeling of getting stronger was incomparable. However, this feeling also made Su Yi extremely worried. Hula, the formless energy of heaven and earth, was still surging in, as if it was endless. As the energy of the monster cores in Su Yi's body interacted with each other, it had also become violent. Within Su Yi's Yuan Qi vortex, Yuan Qi was still surging in. A large amount of Yuan Qi rushed into the Yuan Qi vortex. Su Yi continued to grow stronger, and the aura on his body continued to rise at a terrifying speed. QZ Initial 7. Send. However, this climb gave Su Yi an incomparable sense of satisfaction. But it also made Su Yi feel absolutely worried. Such continuous breakthroughs were definitely not a good thing. The last time it happened, Su Yi had stopped it. A skyscraper had to be built from the ground. Everything had to be done step by step. If this continued, it would only do more harm than good. Furthermore, he was still building his foundation. I can't continue like this. I have to stop. Su Yi gritted his teeth and roared inwardly. He forcefully controlled the Yuan Qi and monster core's energy in his body. He circulated the primordial chaos supreme technique to sever the connection between his body and the external energy. He forcefully compressed the Yuan Qi that had rushed into the Yuan Qi vortex in his Dantian. This process was very difficult. It was like he was looking for abuse. To sever everything, to stop the breakthrough, it was like trying to reverse the flow of the river. However, Su Yi wanted to forcefully sever it. He could not continue breaking through like this. Walala, the surrounding energy of heaven and earth was forcibly cut off by Su Yi. The rising aura on his body was also forcefully compressed. However, this pain made Su Yi suffer the most painful torture at this moment. It was as if his body was being torn apart by several terrifying forces at the same time. His body was about to explode at any time. If it were not for his extraordinary physical body, Su Yi would not have been able to withstand it. At this moment, if there were experts present, they would probably be secretly shocked. As a warrior, no one would be able to resist the incomparable temptation in the face of a breakthrough. However, Su Yi withstood it. Such determination and tenacity were difficult to compare. After a long time, everything calmed down. The energy of heaven and earth was forcibly cut off by Su Yi. The monster core's energy in his body was forcibly isolated by Su Yi and no longer refined. This isolation was much more difficult than the last time. Su Yi paid the price and spat out a mouthful of blood. Clearly, he had just broken through, but at this moment, Su Yi's face was pale. However, the aura was sufficient and he did not continue to break through. This made Su Yi's mouth curve into a smile. He closed his eyes and began to adjust his breathing. The sky was dark, and the afterglow of the setting sun covered the vast mountains. In the dense forest, there were no less than 20 young men and women gathered together. In the lead was a young man who looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. He was riding a huge tiger. The tiger's aura was fierce and its body was glowing. The light in its eyes was incomparably terrifying. Tiger cub, what should we do now? We've been searching for 2 days and we still can't find the people from Spirit Ancient Village. Did they go back? A young man asked the young man who was riding the tiger. They had come to look for the people from Spirit Ancient Village. However, it had been 2 days since they arrived at Demon Azura Mountain, and they had not even seen a shadow of them. They must still be here. Maybe they want to hunt some high-level savage beast. This time, we must not let them go. Continue to search. The young man who was called Tiger Cub said with a cold smile. It was not easy to prepare to go up Demon Azura Mountain. How could he let them go so easily? At night, the bright moon hung high in the sky and the moonlight poured down. Brother Xiong Lai, where are the people from Spirit Ancient Village? Why haven't I seen any of them? In the forest, there were 20 young men and women gathered around a bonfire. Behind these 20 young men and women, there were many savage beasts as mounts. Among them, there was a huge bear that looked fierce. Its eyes were glowing, and it was emitting a terrifying and ferocious aura. The moonlight shrouded everything, making it hazy. Sui closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing again. His body was covered in light, and traces of blazing aura were emitted. There was still a lot of energy from the monster core that had not been refined. Sui could feel that the remaining energy and the compressed energy in his body had sunk into his blood, flesh, bones, meridians, and internal organs. It was as though they had disappeared. In terms of cultivation, Sui was about to step into the peak of the 6th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. He was about to continue breaking through, but it was cut off. And now, Sui was still compressing his aura. Chapter 228. Boom! The aura on Sui's body had completely calmed down. Around Sui, who was seated cross-legged, an aura that was many times more powerful than before spread out from his body, as if it had been awakened. It was accompanied by an extremely majestic and destructive aura. Both of Sui's eyes abruptly opened. 2 dazzling rays of light shot out from within his eyes at the same time as if they had materialized. However, this ray of light only flashed before his eyes for a brief moment before it slowly receded, returning to its tenacious and profound state. 6th level Yuan Profound Stage. Astonishment slowly surfaced on Sui's face as he immediately felt the changes within his body. It was still somewhat difficult for him to regain his senses. Sui's astonishment was not entirely due to the fact that his cultivation had already reached the 6th level Yuan Profound Stage. After severing the consecutive breakthroughs, his cultivation was already close to the peak of the 6th level Yuan Profound Stage. Instead, it was Sui who had exerted great willpower to forcefully suppress the Yuan Qi within his body and the aura on his body. In the end, his cultivation finally stabilized at the initial 6th level Yuan Profound Stage. From the initial late 2nd level Yuan Profound Stage to the current 6th level Yuan Profound Stage, this was 4 levels in a row. How could Sui not be astonished? The higher one's cultivation level, the more difficult it was to break through. Back when Sui consumed the spirit essence liquid, he had only broken through 3 levels from the 3rd level to the 6th level of the spirit essence stage. However, that was still within the spirit essence stage. Now, Sui had broken through from the 2nd level to the 6th level of the Yuan Profound Stage. Just the difference between the 2nd level and the 3rd level of the Yuan Profound Stage was already incomparable to the Spirit Essence stage back then. What made Sui even more astonished was that although he had broken through 4 levels in a row, he could still feel that there was still an extremely surging Yao core energy within his body that had yet to be refined. The Yao core energy was immersed within his bones, muscles, and limbs. It was as if it could burst out at any time and erupt at any time. However, at this moment, this energy was immersed in his body. Although it was still extremely large, it did not go berserk. It was as if Su-yi had forcefully suppressed it. Su-yi could feel that he had refined less than 20 to 30% of the enormous energy contained within the monster core. There was still a large portion that had yet to be refined. He had only refined 20 to 30% of it, yet it had already allowed him to break through 4 levels of the origin profound realm. How frightening was this energy! Feeling his body, a smile appeared on Su-yi's face as he looked at the shocked expression on his face. Compared to when he was at the second level of the Yuan profound realm, the Yuan Qi whirlpool in his dantian was filled to the brim with Yuan Qi. It wasn't just 2 times, it wasn't just a few times, it was 10 times. Even the soul power in his mind had increased tremendously. Clenching his fists slightly, Su-yi could feel a surge of energy surging within his body. It could be used at any time. This feeling gave Su-yi a feeling that if he were to face the barbaric heavenly leopard, who was at the 5th level of the demon profound realm, he would be able to crush it as if it was nothing. He could even surpass it and suppress it directly. There seems to be a change, Su-yi muttered. Other than the Yuan Qi within his body, his physical body and soul power had increased. There were also changes in other places. Using his mind power, Su-yi could feel that the mysterious space in his mind had also changed. Looking around, Su-yi realized that he was surrounded by a rocky peak. The surrounding area was filled with towering ancient trees. The rugged rocks were covered with dragon-like tree vines. Not far away, there were scattered bones and bloodstains left behind by the slain iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. On top of the rocky peak, a belt of light appeared in the air. It should be early in the morning. The sun had just risen, and there was a layer of white mist fluctuating from the belt of light. It was misty and hazy. Su-yi saw Su Tianke not far away. The small figure was wrapped in a ring of light that was like a flame. It was filled with a blazing aura and radiance. It was very mysterious. Su-yi was not sure about Su Tianke's background. As for the land of the peacock, Su-yi did not believe it. It was said that peacocks had long disappeared from the world. However, Su-yi was sure that Su Tianke had a background. At the very least, it was not simple. This place seemed to be safe for a short period of time. He did not know how long he had stayed here, but there were no wild beasts approaching. Su-yi raised his eyebrows and called out the mysterious space. "This is..." In the mysterious space, Su-yi raised his eyes and was surprised. At this moment, the entire space was filled with ripples of divine light. There was a majestic aura that seemed to have crossed the ancient times and descended. What really surprised Su-yi was that the mysterious space, which was originally 5,000 feet in radius, had more than doubled in size. At a glance, the mysterious space was not small anymore. The energy of heaven and earth was still dense in the space with a radius of 10,000 feet. The surroundings were hazy and emitted a faint glow. It was just that when the space was 5,000 feet in size, there was a mist of energy everywhere. It did not dissipate for a long time and floated in the void. At this moment, the energy was much weaker, but it was still very dense. It was still far superior to that paradise. "Sir!" The barbarian beasts began to gather around them in the language of the beast. Whoosh, whoosh, 2 tiny golden figures shot out and landed on Su-yi's shoulders like 2 rays of yellow light. They began to act intimately. It was Dabeo and Xiaoling. The other wild beasts were the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, golden python, red fire demon mink, and blazing barbaric bird that had been cultivating in the mysterious space. Su-yi raised his head and glanced at the barbaric beasts one by one. Sensing their auras, a smile appeared on his face. From the auras of the wild beasts, he could tell that they had broken through. In fact, it wasn't just a small breakthrough. "You guys are in the demon profound realm." Su-yi looked to the side and felt Dabeo and Xiaoling's auras. His heart couldn't help but skip a beat. Dabeo and Xiaoling's auras were very clear. They were in the first level of the demon profound realm. Gulp, gulp, Sui swallowed his saliva as his throat felt hot. %8H Everyone knew that wild beasts were different from humans. Wild beasts were born with strong physical bodies or were naturally gifted. At the very least, they were either agile or tough. However, the heavens were fair. Generally speaking, wild beasts' cultivation speed was much slower than humans. For the profound origin realm, a normal human cultivator with decent talent would need to cultivate for more than 10 years. However, a wild beast would need at least 10 years to reach the profound demon profound realm. But now, Dabeo and Xiao Ling's auras were in the first level of the demon profound realm. Chapter 229. It takes dozens of years for a barbaric beast to reach the demon profound realm. But Dabeo and Little Ling did it in just a few months. How could Sui not be shocked? My lord, we broke through to the demon profound realm. Those spirit whiskers are treasures. Dabeo and Little Ling also transmitted their tongues to Sui. Their tongues flickered as they intimately wrapped themselves around Sui. They ate the blood jasper spirit ginseng's spirit whiskers and refined them, which allowed them to break through to the demon profound realm. Not bad, Sui praised. He thought of something. Dabeo and Little Ling had benefited from the blood jasper spirit ginseng's spirit whiskers, but the biggest reason was probably related to this mysterious space. Back then, the golden python, the scarlet fire demon mink, and the white jade mystic bird all received the inheritance in the mysterious space and became different. Main #Y version 1, ZAs for Dabeo and Little Ling. When they were in the egg, they seemed to have benefited from the mysterious space. Therefore, Sui thought that the reason why Dabeo and Little Ling could reach the demon profound realm so quickly was related to the blood jasper spirit ginseng's spirit whiskers. But most importantly, it was related to the mysterious space. Sui looked around and saw that the blood jasper spirit ginseng was still in the same place. Half of its spirit whiskers were in the soil. Its body was glowing, and the leaves on its head were shining. Spirit liquid, Sui thought of his precious spirit liquid and went to check it. Then, he was relieved. The small pool of spirit liquid expanded along with the expansion of the space. But overall, the remaining spirit liquid was still there. The blood jasper spirit ginseng kept its promise and did not drink it secretly. The spirit herbs in the mysterious space were also growing and shining. The elixirs that Sui had placed in this mysterious space seemed to have leveled up as well, increasing in quality. You guys continue to cultivate for a while. When it's time to go out, I will bring you out. After tidying up, Sui took out a Yuan soldier-level broadsword from the mysterious space and instructed the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others. Since they were still in this paradise, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others could only continue to cultivate. Putting away the mysterious space, Sui looked around and picked up the broken 1,000-pound sword that had fallen not far away. It's getting heavier. When he picked up the broken sword, Sui was immediately astonished. The broken sword originally weighed more than 1,000 pounds, but now it was more than 3 times heavier. He was originally at the 2nd level of the Yuan Profound Realm, but now, he was at the 6th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. Sui couldn't help but feel that even though he wasn't using any Yuan Qi, the strength of his physical body had increased by quite a bit. But now, Sui once again found it difficult to wield this 1,000-pound broken sword as hard as before. Sui estimated that at this moment, this broken sword weighed at least 1,500 kilograms. Even without using his origin energy, he found it strenuous to hold it in his hand. This is definitely not a lousy sword. Sui didn't find it strange that the broken sword had become heavier for no reason. Sui still clearly remembered that when he was killing the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, he was enveloped in the terrifying mucus. In the end, This broken sword suddenly erupted with a monstrous sword aura and a dazzling sword light that shattered the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, allowing him to escape from a hopeless situation. When the broken sword erupted, Su-Yi still remembered that a terrifying energy and killing intent swept over. That energy was powerful and poured into his body, but what was even more terrifying was the killing intent. When he recalled that killing intent, Su-Yi still had some lingering fear in his heart, as if it was still vivid in his mind. That monstrous killing intent came along with the surging energy. It was as if he could see rivers of blood and piles of bones in front of him. That killing intent was too terrifying, as if it wanted to destroy everything. His physical body was almost shattered into pieces. Later on, that killing intent suddenly disappeared, leaving behind that monstrous energy. Su-Yi carefully studied the broken sword in his hand. It still looked ordinary and broken, and he could not see anything special about it. However, Su-Yi was very sure that when he killed the iron-armored demon rhinoceros, it was this broken sword that erupted with a terrifying movement. After carefully studying it for an hour and trying every method, Su-Yi could only give up because there was still no movement from the broken sword. However, Su-Yi was sure that this broken sword was not ordinary. Perhaps he would be able to discover its secret the next time he encountered an opportunity. Holding the broken sword in his hand, Su-Yi struggled to swing it a few times under the added weight, and a smile appeared on his face. It did not matter that the sword had increased its weight. It was also suitable for him to prepare to cultivate the royal grade sword technique. Whoosh, on the side, a blazing aura fluctuated, and there was movement. Su-Yi looked over and saw the blazing aura around Su-Tiank's body fluctuating. Flames whistled as if he had woken up. He flapped his short wings, and his body was flowing with a reddish-gold color like a divine radiance. Then, the flame-like light slowly faded, and Su-Tiank's bald chicken appearance became clear. His small eyes were shining, and he flapped his short wings twice. He looked very happy. He seems to have changed a little. Looking at Su-Tianke, Su-Yi felt that his aura seemed to have changed a little. At the very least, the fluffy feathers on his body seemed to be more lustrous. However, he was still a bald chicken. In his heart, Su-Yi felt warm when he saw Su-Tianke. Su-Tiank's bald appearance made him look more handsome and tall. Su-Yi knew Su-Tiank's character very well. He was a cheapskate who liked to take advantage of others. However, this time, Su-Tianke knew that he was no match for the rhinoceros, but he still chased after it and fought with it. This made Su-Yi feel warm inside. Hey, you've broken through. It seems. It's not just a small breakthrough. Su-Tianke saw Su-Yi and felt the invisible aura emanating from Su-Yi's body. His small eyes were shining with surprise. I broke through a few levels. Su-Yi nodded and smiled. Su-Tianke raised his eyebrows and rolled his eyes at Su-Yi. This guy broke through a few levels? What a freak. But you're quite brave. You're only at the profound origin stage, but you consumed the monster core directly. Su-Tianke then rolled his eyes at Su-Yi. Didn't you consume the monster core too? Su-Yi also rolled his eyes at Su-Tianke. The torturous pain after consuming the monster core still left Su-Yi with lingering fear. He almost didn't make it. It could be considered a narrow escape from death. That's me, not you. You're only at the profound origin stage. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't even die 100 times if you consumed the monster core directly. Su-Tianke glared at Su-Yi and rolled his eyes. He was so angry that his teeth were itching. This guy had actually shattered the Yao core. What a waste of a treasure! More importantly, the energy from the monster core should have belonged to it alone. Chapter 230. But you're lucky. The monster core was shattered by you, so its effects are not as good as before. You only swallowed a small portion of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here now. Su Tianke rolled his eyes at Su Yi. The monster core was shattered, so its effects were greatly reduced. He knew that Su Yi had only swallowed a small portion of it. That was why he was able to survive and gain great benefit. This was purely a coincidence. Otherwise, with Su Yi's profound origin realm cultivation, he would be courting death if he consumed the monster core directly. Is that so? Su Yi couldn't help but inwardly gasp at Su Tianke's words. He had really dodged another disaster. The monster core contained most of the energy of the demonic illusionary stage iron-armored demonic rhinoceros. That was the demonic illusionary stage, while he was only at the profound origin realm. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. This time, he was lucky. It was a coincidence. It was also his luck. How much have you recovered? Su Yi asked Su Tianke expectantly. Su Tianke had swallowed much more energy from the monster core than he had. Judging from his aura, he seemed to have gained a lot of benefit. A demonic illusionary stage monster core, and it's not complete. How much can I recover? Su Tianke rolled his eyes at Su Yi. Then, he put on a serious expression and continued, I need to recultivate. I feel that when I recover, I might be able to remember everything. Then take your time to recultivate. Su Yi raised his eyebrows. This guy was always so mysterious. Don't worry. When I recover, I'll give you a piece of this world. Su Tianke looked at Su Yi and said generously. Hee. Su Yi looked at Su Tianke and chuckled. Su Yi, what do you mean by that? Don't you believe me? I believe you. Why wouldn't I believe you? But I feel like you don't believe me at all. You're mocking me. Kn Section 0 of the new R chapter. Impossible, why would I laugh at a peacock? Then where are you going? Those guys from Spirit Ancient Village have probably all left. It's a pity that the meat of this iron-armored rhinoceros is a little sour and smelly. Otherwise, I could roast it and eat it. Wait for me. That's right, the broken sword on your back doesn't seem to be ordinary. Was it this broken sword that killed the iron rhinoceros? A man and a chicken, their voices echoing in the air as they left. Early in the morning, thousands of mountains had just woken up. In the vast blue sky, milky white clouds filled the air, and the morning glow poured down in torrents onto the myriad mountains. As far as the eye could see, there were towering peaks and steep cliffs everywhere. The mountain was filled with towering ancient trees. Unknown trees and shrubs lined up one after another. They were of different colors and shapes, converging together to form an ink-colored flower scroll. Su Yi and Su Tianke appeared at the top of the cliff and looked around. We should have been delayed for 3 days. They should have gone back by now. Where are we going now? Su Tianke asked. Let's go down the mountain and return to Spirit Ancient Village. Su Yi said. It took him 3 days to refine the monster core. Including the day he came, 4 days had already passed. Originally, there were 6 days left before the competition between the 2 tribes and 1 village. Now, there were only 2 days left. It was related to whether he could obtain the benefits of the soul energy. Su Yi wanted to return to Spirit Ancient Village. Without a flying savage beast as a mount, it would take at least a month to walk back. Su Tianke frowned. There were mountains everywhere. If they had to climb mountains and wade through rivers to return to Spirit Ancient Village, it would take at least a month. It would also tire them out. Let's find a flying savage beast. Su Yi raised his eyebrows. Without a flying savage beast as a mount, it was indeed impossible to return to Spirit Ancient Village. At least, it would be impossible to return within 2 days. There was no shortage of savage beasts in Demon Mountain. Although it might be a little troublesome to find a flying savage beast, it wouldn't be too difficult. Early in the morning, clouds and mist lingered in the mountain forest. The 20 or so young men and women of the wild bear tribe were all strong and muscular. Their eyes were bright, but there was a hint of disappointment in their eyes. There are only 2 days left before the competition. Brother Xiong, should we go back first? Maybe the people of Spirit Ancient Village have already gone back. A young man of the wild bear tribe said to Xiong. Everyone had been searching for a long time, but they didn't find the people of Spirit Ancient Village. They even encountered a group of savage beasts with good cultivation, which injured a few of them. That brat is lucky. Xiong curled his lips. His eyes were filled with anger. After searching for so long, he came back empty-handed. One could imagine his mood. Brother Xiong, the people of the tribe of tiger hunters are also here. Why are they here at Demon Mountain? A young girl was surprised. Just yesterday, they saw the people of the tribe of tiger hunters from afar. They were surprised that so many people of the tribe of tiger hunters would appear at Demon Mountain at this time. That I don't know. Maybe they are here to train. Xiong said. Although he didn't get along with the tribe of tiger hunters, he came here for the people of Spirit Ancient Village. Therefore, he didn't find trouble with the tribe of tiger hunters yesterday. Let's go back. Xiong nodded. There were only 2 days left before the competition. They couldn't miss it. They had to go back as soon as possible. Su-yi went down the mountain. There were thorns everywhere which delayed the journey. It was also quite dangerous. Su-yi secretly released the aura of the Origin Supreme technique. Ordinary savage beasts didn't dare to come close to him. This made it less dangerous for Su-yi. There were many savage beasts in the mountain range. It was very dangerous. Guji, in the sky there was a piercing sound. Su-yi looked up and saw many huge ferocious birds flying past. He couldn't tell what kind of savage beasts they were, but he could feel that they were fierce. Those beasts didn't land, so he couldn't deal with them. On the way down the mountain, Su-yi also saw a battle between savage beasts. There were even savage beasts of the demon spirit realm. They were extremely fierce. Su-yi avoided them from afar. A battle between savage beasts might attract even stronger savage beasts. This was Demon Mountain, so it was better for him to avoid them. There was a small river between the mountains. Many young people were gathered together. All of them had an extraordinary aura. Cub, I can't find the people of Spirit Ancient Village. However, I found Xiong of the Wild Bear Tribe. Why is he here at this time? Someone asked. Yesterday evening, he saw many people of the Wild Bear Tribe and was surprised. Xiong, I heard that he was defeated by Isu. Maybe he is here for the people of Spirit Ancient Village. The tiger cub was not very old, but it had an extremely high status among this group of peers. Its gaze was hidden, and it was also extremely intelligent. But there are only 2 days left before the competition. Did the people of Spirit Ancient Village go back? Chapter 231. However, they had been in the Demon Azura Mountain for a few days. Aside from encountering some dangers, they had yet to see anyone from the Spirit Ancient Village. That kid is lucky. Let's go back. The tiger cub was depressed. This trip was in vain. He could only look for another opportunity next time. Bang bang! Awoo! The roars of savage beasts could be heard. The sound of a fierce battle could be heard. Su-yi's figure appeared on a boulder far away as he looked down at the valley below. At this moment, a huge bird with a wingspan of a few dozen feet was fighting with a lizard savage beast. Both the bird and lizard savage beasts were around the 5th level of the demon profound realm. The bird had sharp claws and its body was covered in light. Its feathers were glowing. Every time it swooped down, it was extremely fast. Wherever its claws passed, it could crush boulders. The lizard savage beast couldn't fly, but it was very agile and had a strong defense. Its body was covered with thick armor-like scales that were covered in black light. Obviously, it was an earth-attributed savage beast. Its long and sharp tail was covered in cold light. In its defensive state, the bird couldn't find any chance to attack. Wind-hunting demonic eagle. Su-yi knew that the bird was a wind-hunting demonic eagle, but he didn't know about the lizard savage beast. This was normal. There were many savage beasts in the world. Most of them were mutated and hybrid savage beasts. It was impossible for anyone to know all the savage beast breeds in the world. But for experts, it was easy to determine the bloodline level of a savage beast. Chirp, chirp, a clear chirping sound could be heard. Above the valley there was a cave on a cliff. Two small wind-hunting demonic eagles were watching the fierce battle between the lizard and the adult wind-hunting demonic eagle with concern. That small lizard was targeting the two small wind-hunting demonic eagles, but it was caught by the adult wind-hunting demonic eagle. Su Tianke raised his head and said, "That lizard is very smart. I'm afraid that the wind-hunting demonic eagle can't do anything to it." Su-yi looked at the fierce battle between the lizard and the wind-hunting demonic eagle. Although the wind-hunting demonic eagle had the advantage, the lizard was very smart. However, the lizard was very smart. Its defense was impenetrable. Chapter A, Section N1, plus Shanku W. Craftsman. A website. If this went on for a long time, once the demonic wind-hunting eagle got tired, it might even fall into a disadvantage. That little lizard probably wants to swallow the big wind-hunting condor even more now. It wants to reap the benefits, said Su Tianke. Let's go down. Maybe we can discuss with the wind-hunting condor. Suddenly, a faint smile appeared on Su-yi's face. He had gone down the mountain and searched for a long time. However, he still couldn't find a flying barbaric beast that could attack. Therefore, this hunting wind demon eagle was a suitable choice. Bang, 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 the wind-hunting condor's gaze was sharp. It swooped down continuously and unleashed fierce attack. However, its attacks were all in vain and had little effect. That lizard was focused on defense, not allowing a single drop of water to flow. There was no way to deal with it at all. It was already consuming more and more energy. Hiss hiss, the lizard barbarian demon beast's scarlet tongue flickered in and out of its mouth. It could feel that the wind-hunting condor's aura was getting stronger and stronger, and its ferocious eyes were secretly filled with joy. Wind-hunting condor, I'll help you kill this lizard. In return, you can give me a ride. How about that? Suddenly, a voice was heard in the midst of the fierce battle that was in a stalemate. The wind-hunting condor and the lizard barbarian demon beast, who were fighting fiercely, immediately looked towards the direction of the voice. Their expressions changed slightly. Their ferocious eyes emitted a terrifying light and immediately locked onto a human figure. Looking at the human figure with a bald chicken beside him, both the wind-hunting condor and the lizard barbarian demon beast were secretly surprised. High up on the cliff, the two little wind-hunting condors looked at the figure that suddenly appeared. Their small eyes were also filled with curiosity as they looked around. Screech, hiss hiss, the wind-hunting condor screeched. The lizard barbarian demon beast flicked its tongue and let out a woo-woo sound from its throat. Both of them stared at Su-yi vigilantly. To the barbaric beasts, humans would always be their common enemy. Su-yi took a step forward. When he finished speaking, he ignored the wind-hunting condor and slowly walked towards the lizard barbarian demon beast. He opened his mouth and said, "Leave immediately and I can spare your life. Otherwise, you will die." Seeing Su-yi walking over, the lizard barbarian demon beast's ferocious eyes were filled with a cold light. Instantly, its black figure flew out and pounced towards Su-yi at lightning speed. Its scarlet tongue was flicked out like lightning. The smell of blood spread out, making one feel nauseous. Vile beast! Su-yi suddenly raised his eyes. Yuan Qi flew out from the bottom of his feet. Instead of retreating, he advanced. His figure instantly brought about a whooshing sound, as if a series of afterimages were flying out. After his cultivation had skyrocketed, his speed had also skyrocketed with the Fuyao 100 transformation step. The Fuyao 100 transformation steps shrunk the ground to an inch, greatly increasing one's speed. It was unpredictable, real and fake, and impossible to figure out. At this moment, Su Yi was at the 6th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. This lizard barbarian demon beast was only at the 5th level of the demon Profound Realm. Su Yi's figure dragged out an afterimage as he appeared on the right side of the lizard barbarian demon beast's head. He clenched his fists and shook them. At the same time, a domineering and imposing aura suddenly erupted from Su Yi's body. He directly threw out a punch. It carried a faint wind and thunder as it heavily landed on the lizard barbarian demon beast's head. At this moment, the lizard barbarian demon beast and the wind-hunting condor hovering in the air seemed to have felt something at the same time. Their gazes changed drastically and their bodies trembled for no reason. Boom! A deep sound like thunder rang out. A huge force directly sent the lizard barbarian demon beast's huge body flying. It heavily flipped over and finally crashed into a cliff not far away. The cliff rumbled as rocks crumbled and rolled down. Immediately after, the lizard barbarian demon beast, which was at the 5th level of the demon Profound Realm, fell and rolled down. It couldn't even let out a blood-curdling scream as its head exploded. The Origin Supreme technique was activated as the Yuan Qi in his body flowed through his wide meridians. It was like a surging stream as it vibrated. Su Yi had only used half of his strength in this punch. He wanted to test his current combat strength. The result satisfied Su Yi and the corner of his mouth curled up into an arc. This feeling of power was incomparable. It was indescribably comfortable. I have already dealt with your opponent for you. You just need to give me a ride. Otherwise, you will end up like it. You choose. Su Yi raised his eyes and looked at the wind-hunting condor hovering in the air. I'm willing. The wind-hunting condor stared at Su Yi as its gigantic body landed in front of Su Yi. It retracted its wings and prostrated itself on the ground. Within its sharp eyes, a look of respect and astonishment could be seen. Su Yi withdrew the Primordial Origin Supreme Art and smiled. The Primordial Origin Supreme Art wasn't very useful against Demon Void Realm barbaric beasts, but it was effective against Demon Profound Realm and Demon Spirit Realm barbaric beasts. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the wind could be heard. It wasn't loud, but there were a lot of people around, and Su Yi could hear it. Chapter 232. Among the several brute demon beasts, there was a large bear that was very eye-catching. It had a ferocious aura and its paws were the size of 2 dustpans. Wild bear tribe. There was no need to look at Xiong-Lai. Just by looking at the attire of the 20 or so youths and the large bear, Su Yi was able to determine the identity of this group. It's him, it's him. When they saw Su Yi, a young man from the barbarian bear tribe who had seen Su Yi before immediately shouted loudly. He was so excited that he seemed to have become excited. The ones who came were the wild bear tribe led by Xiong-Lai. They were originally planning to leave the mountain when they heard the commotion and came over. Instantly, numerous gazes were fixated on Su Yi's body. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement and agitation. One must know that they had been searching the demon Azura Mountain for many days. Who knew that just as they were about to give up, they would actually see the person they were looking for? How could they not be excited? Xiong-Lai looked at Su Yi and was a little surprised by the hunting wind demon condor in front of Su Yi. However, he did not pay much attention to it. Instead, he looked at Su Yi with excitement hidden in his eyes. He sneered and said in a deep voice, "Kid, we meet again? Do you have something to say?" Su Yi looked at Xiong-Lai and the rest. Since they came in such a menacing manner and had the advantage in numbers, it was likely that they did not come with good intentions. Xiong-Lai looked at Su Yi and said in a deep voice, "Kid, you have to pay the price for ruining my plans." Su Yi's eyes slightly raised. As expected, they did not come with good intentions. His gaze swept across the 20 or so youths. They all seemed to be at the Yuan Profound Realm, but the strongest was Xiong Lai. Sui did not pay much attention to them. Back when he was at the second level of the Yuan Profound Realm, he could easily defeat Xiong Lai, let alone now. You don't seem to be a match for me. Do you want to fight me together? Sui glanced at the group of young men and women. He secretly used his soul power to scan the surroundings. There didn't seem to be any experts from the wild bear tribe, so he felt relieved. Although there were many young men and women in this group, Sui was not afraid. The new most fast V on N Cool T Craftsman Network. This guy is so arrogant. Humph humph, I'll show you soon. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant. Seeing Sui's nonchalant expression, some of the wild bear tribe youths were furious. However, they had heard that this outsider youth was very strong, and that even Xiong Lai was not his match. Although they were furious, no one dared to step forward. Just you? Xiong Lai's expression darkened. This outsider actually did not put him in his eyes. He looked around and found it strange that this guy was the only one here. He did not see anyone from the Spirit Ancient Village. That's right. It's just me. Sui nodded. That's good. It saves us some trouble. Xiong Lai sneered. If there were people from the Spirit Ancient Village here, it would be more troublesome. Now that there was only one guy here, it was undoubtedly much easier to deal with him. I advise you not to provoke me again. Sui looked at the group of wild bear tribe youths in front of him. His expression was calm with a hint of arrogance. He waved his hand and said, You have to pay the price for ruining my plans. If you kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake and follow me as my follower, I may let you go this time. Xiong Lai said. If he could take this outsider as his follower, it would be a very impressive thing. Sui was stunned. This guy actually wanted to take him in as a follower. Didn't he know that he was once defeated by Xiong Lai? It seemed that the lesson last time was too light. A cold smile appeared on his face. He looked straight at Xiong Lai and said in a low voice, Come at me together. This time, you will be miserable. There's no need for us to do anything. You will have your own opponent. The corner of Xiong Lai's eyes twitched. He knew that he wasn't a match for Lin Fan, and the people around him weren't a match for him either. But this time, he was prepared. Go, teach this kid a lesson. Just leave him alive. With a wave of his hand, Xiong Lai said to the big bear behind him. His eyes were filled with coldness. Roar! Hearing Xiong Lai's words, the big bear couldn't bear it any longer. It let out a deep roar and stepped out. Its huge body was like a giant looking down at Sui. Its eyes were filled with coldness. Feeling the aura of the big bear, the wind-hunting eagle behind Sui was afraid. However, it didn't retreat and stood behind Sui. Earth Star Barbarian Bear. You guys want to use this Earth Star Barbarian Bear to deal with me? Sui had already seen the big bear. It's an Earth Star Barbarian Bear. Its bloodline wasn't particularly high. Judging from its aura, it's probably an Earth Star Barbarian Bear that hasn't even reached the demon spirit realm. Looking at the Earth Star Barbarian Bear before him, Sui already knew that Xiong Lai wouldn't dare to look for him without any backing. Looks like this Earth Star Barbarian Bear is his backing. It's just an Earth Star Barbarian Bear that hasn't even reached the origin spirit realm. Sui wasn't afraid at all. In fact, he was looking forward to it. He could test his current strength. The wind-hunting eagle from before wasn't enough to test his strength. Brat, you asked for it. Xiong Lai sneered. This Earth Star Barbarian Bear was brought out by him from the tribe. It should be enough to deal with this brat. He must take revenge for the humiliation last time. The taste of the bear's paw should be pretty good. Sui sized up the Earth Star Barbarian Bear. The taste of the bear's paw should be delicious. Roar! Hearing Sui's words, the Earth Star Barbarian Bear was enraged. Its roar was shocking, causing the ground to tremble. Attack! Xiong Lai didn't want to delay any longer. He had to deal with this fellow as soon as possible. He still had to return to the tribe. Roar! The Earth Star Barbarian Bear roared and stomped on the ground with its paw. Dust flew up and the ground trembled. Its body glowed, revealing its snow-white fangs. It looked ferocious and ferocious. Its aura was terrifying. Beast, back off. Otherwise, I don't mind eating the bear's paw. Sui raised his head. Facing the Earth Star Barbarian Bear's reprimand, he would usually warn the Earth Star Barbarian Bear in advance. Hearing Sui's words, the group of wild bear tribes youths were stunned. They thought they heard it wrong. This is an Earth Star Barbarian Bear that's at the peak of the 8th level of the Demon Profound Realm. This brat actually didn't put it in his eyes? Roar! The Earth Star Barbarian Bear was also stunned for a brief moment, following which, it let out a furious roar and its huge body took a step forward. Light surged from its body and a dark black earth attribute energy rippled. It didn't hold back its aura at the peak of the 8th level of the Demon Profound Realm. Its huge paw slapped towards Sui. Boom! The huge paw slammed down, covering Sui like a small mountain. Its ferocious aura was extremely violent, causing the surrounding dust to fly up and the wind to howl. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.